Welcome to D.A. Ex Machina. Together, we'll explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with other authors, with a particular emphasis on the horror genre. We'll discuss writing, the inspiration behind horror stories, as well as the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of fiction. We'll also explore cryptids of all varieties, along with sightings, encounters, and reports. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us tonight on the D.A. Ex Machina Wednesday edition. Joining me tonight is my co-host and partner in crime, Naoma Finn from the Dixie Cryptid and What If It's True podcast. Appreciate you joining us tonight, Naoma. You doing okay tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We are trying out a new streaming service. Melon was okay, but it was really, really glitchy. So if you guys are joining us for the first time here on this broadcast, I'm putting up on the screen now to connect to Restream and for your name to be able to show. Just go to https://chat.restream.io/fb, and it will allow you to access and log in, and we'll be able to see your name. So hope you guys will check that out and join us with your name and everything. And it looks like we're already starting to get some response. We got some good evening from Josh Dalton. Tammy Lamb says, good evening, everyone. Alyssa Khan says, evening all. And I think that's my buddy RJ saying, yay. Circle of Doom. Yeah, I think that's RJ. Naoma, you doing okay tonight?
I am. I just didn't have my microphone on.
Well, it's time to have the microphone on.
Yeah, I know. You'd think, right?
Well, yeah, on occasion.
So, have you made any good videos? Oh, has anybody seen anything in the videos?
We've had some people send a couple spots where they thought they saw a movement, but nothing's panned out yet. We just may not have got anything, which is perfectly acceptable. I mean, you can't expect every outing to find something interesting. There are a couple of spots where I'm pretty sure I've seen eye shine, but Josh is not 100% sure whether or not it was just reflected headlights off of leaves. But he's in the process of isolating it. So hopefully we'll get something from it. If not, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, we went out there just to have fun and kind of shoot a video, and we accomplished all of that. So, you know, we'll get something on another foray, I'm sure. We are definitely going to be going over to the Combs Ferry, the one that's got to have a 4-wheel drive to get in. I'm going over there some way or somehow.
Well, I picked up a few extra bottles of barbecue sauce for the next LBL trip, so I'm ready.
Right, ready to be tied to a tree and be tasty.
You bet.
What's your job here? Bait.
Just call me bait girl.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm excited. But there were a couple of places where I kind of thought I saw something, but I went back. There is actually one place in the video where there is this perfect like bipedal outline in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I kept going back to that, and I kept going back to that. And I thought, oh man, this is so cool. I gotta let him know. Yeah, no, it was just a shadow. I enhanced it enough. I could tell it was just a shadow, but it looks so cool for a second.
I would rather us find stuff like that and rule it out than present it as evidence and it be something just like you said, like shadow or pareidolia.
Yeah.
If there's nothing there, I'm perfectly happy because I don't want to present anything that we have not legitimately spotted something at. I will not be that guy that posts a picture of a shrub with 35 red circles on it that they're here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Like,
exactly.
If it's not clear, I'm not posting it.
Exactly.
We got a hello from Northwoods Cryptids. Good evening from Alan J. Congdon. And what's up, people, from Josh Jones. Evening, folks. Greg Price says good evening. Thank you all for joining us. We are jumping in tonight on a little bit different cryptid. I know we've done a lot of Bigfoot and Dogmen in the past, but tonight we are going whole hog, so to speak. We are jumping in and looking at something a little different. It's not your standard cryptid. It, it is something a little more fun. We're going to be the Chupacabra with
Found
butter.
only on Cornhub.
That's right, cornhub.com. We're going to be talking about the elusive Chupacabra, and I hope you guys are up for the jump, because it seems like to me they're from the different sightings from different parts of the world that there may be two distinctly different creatures that they call Chupacabra. What do you think, Naoma?
Absolutely, I agree. I don't think that they could possibly be the same creature. The descriptions are just too different. And the locations. I mean, I know that they could, that's not a big deal, but um, I think in this case it matters.
I think so.
So, yeah.
Because I don't think one of them is. It may very well be the same creature making the attacks.
Yeah.
But what they're calling Chupacabra in some places, then which have they found dead specimens where it's some sort of like mangy coyote, I don't think that's really the creature.
Mm-mm.
I think that's just what people are calling that, and
Yeah.
we're going to delve into that tonight.
Yeah.
Patty Figueroa Noriega says hola everybody. Troy says good
Hey,
evening.
Patty.
Hello from Cynthia Scott. Wisconsin says never seen one. What's up from Facebook user? Josh says is one the rake. No, I don't think so, and we'll show some illustrations here shortly. Owissa says to find things consistently requires the individual tracking to know the behavior of the target species. Very much so. Trying to catch up with the chat.
Someone says,
Facebook
how come
user
it's
says,
not
"How
on
come it's not on
YouTube tonight?
It's supposed to be.
It is. I've got it on another tab and I'm seeing it on YouTube.
Oh, try refreshing your page. I will double check my YouTube myself. Yeah, it's showing live now on my YouTube page. So try refreshing your page, or I'm not sure. You might have clicked on. Oh, it's showing like set reminder for one for this program, and then it shows live on another one. So apparently it's kind of double stacking it on my YouTube page. So look for the one that says live now. Werewolf 5674 says evening, went to the other YouTube site. Irene says hi guys. Owissa says I'm watching from YouTube. I can do it says from Dothan, Alabama. Werewolf says it's not on the one the reminder takes you to. Weird. YouTube, I don't know. It just may be the way these two programs are shaking hands. They may not be shaking hands on friendly terms.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. What did you do? Your camera.
I'm sorry. I thought I was going to sneeze and I reached up to cover my nose. And when I did,
That's kind of funny.
My camera is perched precariously on top of my laptop today. When I have to move out to the living room, I have to be crafty. It's sitting in my.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and sitting in my normal workspace, everything's pretty much right there, but there's a lot to bring out here as it is. So
we are on a couple of new places tonight as well, Naoma. We're on LinkedIn and going out on the live video version on Twitter. I can't remember what it's called, but Twitter has their own streaming platform. So if you go to my Twitter, which is twitter.com/DARobertsAuthor, you'll find a stream there as well. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on Twitch. So if you haven't had a chance to hit that smash that like and subscribe button, hit that little bell. It'll give you alerts whenever we're going live or whenever we're posting something new. We will have some new videos coming up. It looks like I'm going to be trying this weekend to shoot some video in my area at a couple places. May try to go up to Ha Ha Tonka State Park and try to get some of the ruins of the old castle up there. Facebook user says Sentinel disguised as Facebook user. Yeah, Josh Jones says Periscope. Yeah, Periscope. I couldn't remember what it was called. Cynthia Scott says, do you have any new books? The newest one I have out is The Nightmare Hunter. It just came out what was it, about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on others now. Northwoods Cryptid says, DA, before my back pain meds kick in, I have to ask a question. Would White Sands Missile Range be out of the area of responsibility for Team Odin? No. Team Odin gets everything from the Rocky Mountains, basically, all the way to the Appalachians. So Team Odin would be anywhere. And actually, now that they're an international team, they could theoretically go anywhere.
I'm still a little concerned by those who are not seeing this on YouTube.
That is kind of odd.
I'm hoping I can do this. We'll see.
Well, if you go to my YouTube page, which is DA Roberts Author on YouTube, and if you just go to the actual YouTube page, it pops directly up at the top of the page. So
I just added a link to the chat. So
well, I just did as well. So great minds think alike, or we're stuck in the same rut. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, yours is probably better because it actually says DA Roberts Author. Mine was just what I took off of the URL.
Owissa Khan says, "What's Team Odin?" If you're not familiar, Owissa, I'm in addition to doing the podcast, I'm an author. I have a bunch of books in print. Some of them most of them are horror. I have some sci-fi as well, but a lot of the horror books are cryptid related, and they're works of fiction. But I have done a lot of research on behaviors and encounters that ended violently, and I used those encounters to build the encounters in the books. So they are works of fiction, but I've done a lot of reading and research to get to that point where I can write that.
There you go. Troy's watching us on YouTube, so
Greg says, okay, shows up on DA Roberts, but not on All Tower Media. Is that on the DA Roberts author page on Facebook, or is that at the YouTube channel? Because I'm only sending it to one YouTube channel. I don't know why it's not showing up on All Tower Media. I need to shut up the bot real quick.
Yeah. Bossy
I
bot.
just realized that it was
insulting your listeners.
Yeah, it's the bot's being an idiot. I thought I had that thing turned off, but apparently it turned itself back on. Stupid bot.
So, you want to get into this whole Chupacabra?
Absolutely. That's the one that attacks Taco Bell, right?
Right. That's actually the Taco Bell dog.
Oh, the Chupacabra. He's very dangerous.
Yeah. Should we start in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, that's where the first sightings appeared back in the 90s. If you want to go ahead and start on that, I know you've read quite a bit about it. I'm looking for the how to shut the StreamYard bot up.
Okay. Well, and I didn't take notes, which was really silly of me because I don't work well without notes. But I think it was in 1995. They began experiencing livestock. Chupacabra means goat sucker. They were finding livestock that had been killed, and what was unique was that the blood was drained out of them. And the description was nothing like a mangy coyote. This was more of a lizard type creature. There you go. And had a goat fetish. And is that the one that has the back? Or I was thinking that the one that
the spines.
Yeah,
you can kind of see it there.
Yeah,
and there's a better one.
Yeah, and so it can be bipedal, and that's another thing that I think separates it from. Well, although I've also read accounts of the one a lot farther west being bipedal, but primarily quadruped. And it got so bad that even the mayor was, it was on every news station every day. There was somebody reporting livestock being taken by the Chupacabra or the goat sucker. People would just go out and they'd find all of their rabbits have been drained of their blood, or their goats, or their chickens, or whatever. And that's where it began. Have you fixed your bot yet?
No, I'm still trying to figure out why it's even engaged, because we're not even on Streamlabs. Apparently, it's decided that it's getting involved no matter what we do.
Yeah.
I will find it in a moment. The weird thing about the Chupacabra is that originally people were saying that the sightings were primarily in Puerto Rico, maybe on places like the Dominican Republic, some of the Caribbean islands, and in like Mexico and Central America. But there have been sightings all the way up in Maine, in Russia, and even in the Philippines. So whatever it is, it appears to be spreading.
And it definitely has taste for blood.
It's like a vampire almost.
Mm-hmm. That is the one central theme of all of them, is that it does like to suck blood, apparently.
Okay, in theory, it should shut up in the YouTube chat now. In theory.
Cross our fingers here.
Northwood says, as long as it's not a repeat of Saturday's issues. Yeah, Saturday was bad. That's what, because of what happened on Saturday is one of the reasons I decided to try something different, because the melon was just so glitchy.
Was I there?
Yeah, it's when it just went dead.
Oh yeah.
We had to restart it.
That's right.
Greg says, why does Chupacabra sound like the title of a major mariachi song? That's kind of.
I'm sorry. Okay. Papa Bear says, with this goat fetish, are we sure that this isn't a misplaced Welshman who likes to dress up? Papa Bear can make that statement because he's part Welsh.
No, I was just going to say maybe it came from Arkansas.
And he could make that statement too, because that's where his ancestors are from. They came from Wales and went to Arkansas. The other live stream is playing perfectly.
Yeah, and the chat seems to be much smoother with this too. What do you guys think?
Is it a yes or is it a no? I like the chat on the screen, and we don't have to try to keep up with it. I mean, we still have to keep up with it, but
yeah.
So Meg says we're not on her tablet, but on her phone.
But you're able to stream it on your phone, but not your tablet? That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have found that this team tends to run smoother than Melon, but apparently it has its own issues, which we're going to have to figure out. Like my primary issue is it doesn't support green screen. I'm either going to have to install a third-party software to use the green screen, or wait for them to update it, which supposedly they are in the process of doing.
He's lying to you guys. He's laying on a pool table.
Yeah, doesn't look like a cool cue ball. Bigfoot Anon says, "What's up, DA and everybody? Hey, thank you for joining us, man." How long ago did Streamlabs say? I thought I shut that down. It still says guys. If Streamlabs says anything, just ignore it. Type.
It's just being right.
I've got to go in and figure out what the heck's going on with Streamlabs. It is not wanting to work and play well together.
Oh, somebody said earlier they were in a bad storm. I'm wondering if they were in Ida. I think it was Irene that mentioned that.
Yeah, we've been catching some rain from it in our area, and they're saying we're going to get more.
Yeah, so have we. We had quite a downpour this morning, I think.
My middle son's in Florida right now, and they've been catching a lot of storms.
Wow. Even with the storms, I wish I was in Florida, but that's just me.
Well, he's still enjoying himself. It's just he said mostly it's just strong wind, and they've got advisories not to get into the Gulf because of the riptide from the storm.
Great surfing, though.
I would imagine, but I wouldn't want to get ripped clean out into the miles from shore.
He
I
got
don't
your
swim that well.
surfboard. What are you worried about?
Josh says I removed it from YouTube. DA, thank you, man. I need to send Josh a invite so he can join us in the group if he wants. Josh went into YouTube and removed Streamlabs' ability to even post. So he may still try, but it's not. It shouldn't be able to say anything. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, glitches aplenty. It wouldn't be a DA live stream if we didn't have glitches.
Who's very blurry? Werewolf? Is it the images or just the entire thing? Because last week I remember looking like I was being seen through a smeared window.
Greg says the new program's working fine on Facebook. That's awesome. Yeah. I think the ultimate way that we're going to wind up going is with this, with Restream, because it seems to be more stable. I'm certainly able to do a lot more, and it's nowhere near as glitchy. It's got its quirks. Of course, StreamYard also did. It took me all 4 or 5 shows to get StreamYard adjusted where I knew what I was doing. But this one seems to work a lot like it should. It's just going to take me a little bit to figure all the controls out. Bill Sloan says, "Let me get this straight. You'll go to LBO at night, but you're afraid to get in the water." Well, when they've got the riptide advisories out, man, I don't swim well. I'm a Ozarks hillbilly. When the water gets nasty, I try to stay out of it. Of course, around here, if you get in the water at the wrong time of year, you can get dragged through a cottonmouth nest. So, not a great time of year to be in the water in the Ozarks. Facebook user, I guess it's Robert Miller says everything's blurry on my end, but I love the format. I don't know why it's blurry, because it's crystal clear on what I'm seeing on screen.
Yeah.
Hi, Meg. Maybe try reloading to see if it clears up. It might just be your connection, because everything on this end seems to be very, very clear. I mean, it's the only thing I can think of. Toothaking says it's not blurry at all here. Howdy, y'all. Hello. Thank you for joining. Josh says it's not blurry. Bill Sloan says I'm a floater. I just figure everyone was. I swim like a rock. I don't swim well on the top of the water. And if there's a riptide, my big butt's going to get dragged out into the Gulf.
Swim parallel to the beach if that ever happens.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because the riptide goes out. So if you swim parallel, you'll be pulled out, but eventually you'll come out of the riptide, and then you'll be able to swim back. And you'll know the second that you're out of it because you won't feel the pull anymore.
That's good to know.
So, yeah.
Next says we have jellyfish now. Great.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing I can do about that. But I would rather be in water than out. That's my thing. I love water.
When we were in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina that was in 2018, the water temperature was like bath water, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't have any problem with riptide there. And the only reason that they're having problems with riptides in Florida is because of all the water churning from the hurricane. Ordinarily, they don't have that much trouble with it. He's in Panama City, I believe it is. I believe it's where he's at.
Yeah, I've never been caught in a riptide, not in a bad one anyway. But I just would rather be in the water than out. It's just my nature, I guess.
I love swimming. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I mean, if the water's good, even if it's a really hot day and the water's just real cold, we used to go swimming in springs all the time, and that was awesome. On a really hot day. I love swimming. I'm not a real strong swimmer, so I try to stay away from water that's over my head.
Yeah. Alyssa asked just a little bit ago about reading a story about a goat that had a couple of puncture wounds. And were there any other injuries? So tell us exactly what kind of injuries the Chupacabra leaves. DA.
Usually they'll find puncture wounds on the neck. Let me see if I can find the right picture, one I want to show. maybe this one. You can kind of see the fangs on that, and then you see the fangs on this one. I think this one's just kind of overstated. Um, and that one has more like a fish mouth, but most all the puncture marks are two large puncture wounds on one side and one on the other. From what I've read, and the animals will be drained of blood. And it's not just goats; they get chickens, they've gotten dogs, sheep, pretty much any small farm animal. I haven't heard of any accounts of cows or horses being attacked, but it's generally your small to mid-sized farm animals that are getting hit. And they're getting hit quite all over the place. Like I said, there are accounts coming in now from as far away as Russia, the Philippines, and even some up in Maine. So that means if it's spread that far across the U.S., then it's pretty much everywhere. I would say it's definitely something cause for concern. Now down in Texas, they kept finding these, and a few times they shot them. They definitely they were saying have we caught the Chupacabra? But when DNA tests came back, it came back as a weird hybrid between a Mexican wolf and a coyote, and they said it had a bad case of the mange. A number of these have shown up down in Texas, including this one that a lady found dead in her yard and had stuffed and mounted. But I honestly don't think that these coyote/wolf hybrids with mange are the same creature. Now, if you look at the teeth on this one, it's got standard dog-like teeth, but it also looks like it might be missing some, which it might account for why it's going after all kinds of weird animals. If this is quote unquote the Chupacabra, because it's definitely sick. Yeah, it's going to go after something easy. But I've seen coyote kills. Coyote kills are not pretty. Coyotes will just absolutely rip an animal to shreds. Having a clean kill with only blood missing is not coyote or wolf behavior, not in any way, shape, or form. But something like this, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They always describe rather peculiar fangs on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your standard canines. They're always peculiar.
A lot of the accounts in Puerto Rico, they also describe red glowing eyes. Now, a couple of accounts and a couple of things I've read from people that people in central and the northern part of South America have claimed it was around long before the first reported sightings down in Puerto Rico. So I don't know. Is this something that first appeared in Puerto Rico? Has this been around a long time and just didn't get reported? But the authorities in Puerto Rico organized like a massive hunt. They brought out their militia and they went out into the woods looking for this thing. And the weird part was the first encounters in Puerto Rico were very close to a U.S. military research facility, and they initially thought it might have been something that escaped from that facility, which God knows what our military was working on. They could have been trying to bioengineer some kind of weapon and this is what you got. I don't know. I'm just from the accounts I'm telling you, there's been people that claimed that there were alien connections, people that claim it's a legitimate just monster that's been around for a long time, an experiment gone bad. Nobody seems to know for sure, but they do know is there are people that are losing a lot of livestock. One guy in the course of a single night lost like 60 chickens. I mean, it's affecting the pocketbook of farmers, and that's why Puerto Rico took it pretty serious. They started going out with groups of militia looking to either find and kill or capture the creature so they could figure out what it was. So Puerto Rico at least wasn't playing around.
Toothache says when that was happening all the way down in Chile, he remembers, or she remembers, and I lost it. Reading about a man in Brazil with the same injury who was killed with the same injuries.
Really, that's a great account. I'd like to hear that because I have not heard of it attacking people. I've heard of it chasing people, but I've never heard of a person being attacked. And I've only heard of small animals. So if it's attacked and killed people, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That's one I'd like to hear too.
Yeah, toothaking. If you've got a link to that or the person involved, I would love to hear more about that. Oh, looks like Josh is joining us.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Josh, how's it going? Are you audio only?
Yeah, audio only. It's too dark in the cab to see me anyway.
I always say dark is the best light for me anyway.
A couple quick things I just want to address real quick before you get back at it. Facebook users, go to restream.io/FB to authorize your name so we can see you in chat. DA, I will get with you after the stream. I think I know why your stream doubled up. 2 different things.
Oh, okay.
And if you're seeing a blurry stream, it's probably your quality settings on YouTube or Facebook. Double check those because it sounds like it's an individual case-by-case basis. All right, back to you, DA.
Well, we are getting some awesome comments. Werewolf 5674 says most predators rip the throats or clamp down till they die, or in the case of like big cats, they will bite like over the nose of it and just to hold it down and suffocate it. Lions do that a lot. Mountain lions do that as well. They'll like bite the nose of a calf and just clamp down and hold it till it suffocates. But even then, once they've killed the animal, you don't hear about just puncture marks in the neck and finding nothing else. They will tear it apart. You'll find pieces, and heck, if you leave a kill for a few days out in the woods, the scavengers will pick that thing clean in just a matter of days. You'll come back and find a skeleton, and then 2-3 months down the road, you'll find pieces of the skeleton, and then maybe a year later, you won't find nothing but the occasional bone. Now, when an animal's killed in the wild, it tends to get torn apart pretty fast, and especially wolf and like canine kills. Dogs are different. When dogs go feral, they don't hunt well on their own. They tend to just attack what's easy to attack. But something that's actually hunting and has the hunting instinct, like wolves and coyotes, those kills are never clean. You'll find tufts of fur and bone and crap everywhere. They will rip a kill apart pretty fast. For an animal to, especially in cases where there've been multiple kills, when something got into one of this farmer's pen and killed every one of his chickens, none of them had been torn apart. In cases like Bigfoot, when Bigfoot has gotten into a chicken coop, they're just gone. In this case, they found them with puncture marks and the blood gone, and the meat was not eaten. And that's bizarre behavior for anything.
It's really weird.
It is really weird.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my stomach just growled at me. I'm sorry.
You're all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no reason to growl. It just does that. Alyssa wants to know how tall are these things when they're on 2 legs?
On 2 legs, I haven't heard any really good reports of them moving on 2 legs, just them like standing and then dropping back down to all 4s, but they're not big. Like big child, like early teens, they're not human sized. They're a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And if in the case where where they mentioned it might have been possible that they killed a human, I would say that was a case where it probably ambushed them, because they don't look big enough to overpower a full grown adult.
I also want to discuss the back sails, which fascinate me.
The spines.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring up that picture again.
Yeah. Now, see, even when they quote unquote find them, they don't find that, and yet all witnesses describe that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have the ability. I mean, they're not just sticking out of them; they can move them, and
mm-hmm.
and yet nothing that they find that they claim to be Chupacabra has that.
Yeah, definitely. These don't have it. Now, I can see how a mangy dog might have tufts of hair along the ridge of its back,
Mm-hmm.
but not something like the spines as they describe. I mean, a mangy dog does not look like that. And I don't care how you've described it, or if you've had a close-up encounter, you're not going to mistake this for this. There's just really no comparison.
The one that you put up with spines, it almost looks like an iguana. I wonder if it's just a type of massive lizard.
See, there you go again. That's the Reese's Monkey Party I was talking about before we got on the air tonight.
Like some sort of weird version of like a Komodo dragon.
Yeah, something, because a lot of larger lizards have spines like that.
Well, there are types of lizards that will run for short distances on their back legs, but they're smaller lizards. It would be absolutely terrifying to see a Komodo dragon on its back thundering across your parking lot heading for you. Yeah, at that moment, I'm waiting to hear the Godzilla music.
Oh my gosh, Naoma. I thought for a minute that you were wearing like a Christmas antler headband for a second with the things back behind you make it look like antlers.
Oh, they do, don't they? Cool.
Funny.
Yeah. I moved to the other side of my living room tonight. Now I do have antlers. That's kind of cool. Paint my nose red and drive a sleigh.
Oh.
Yeah. With me, please. No, sorry.
It's interesting though when you do look at pictures of like animals that are emaciated, or like there's been pictures of animals like in water that have been bloated that totally distort how they look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that accounts for a lot of, I wouldn't say sightings, but like you said, people finding the mangy dogs and stuff going, well, this has got to be this because it looks weird, when it's just something else that's been rotted or decomposed in a partial way.
There's a rather famous picture of I think it's a Komodo dragon that was partially decomposed in water that was reported to be a cryptid for quite a while. And eventually it came out that it was just a dragon.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look anything like a Komodo dragon in the picture until they point it out to you. And then you're like, okay, I can kind of see that.
Is that the one where they said it was like a humanoid aquatic creature or something?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
they were
the
like,
one.
Most people are like, nah, that's a lizard or a monkey that's been drowned.
Yeah, that's the one.
Because it has like really long fingers and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely didn't fit
before.
the frog alien, I think is what they were trying to call it.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't fit that, but it just looked bloated and weird.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it was determined to be, I believe it was a Komodo dragon that it was, maybe not.
I can see that.
Some member of the lizard family, maybe my ex-husband. I don't know.
Things like the tails and parts of the body that may be cartilage, those kind of things are going to start falling off and rotting first, and really change the shape of the creature when those things start disappearing, but the bulk of the creature is still there.
Yeah.
Makes for something really bizarre.
Komodo dragons are just really, they just kind of freak me out.
They're weird.
I mean, look at that. That's two of them ripping a goat apart. I mean, and they are big.
Mm-hmm.
And they're one of the only species of lizard that their bite, just the bite, can be fatal.
Yeah.
Because of like enzymes and toxins,
bacteria in the mouth,
and bacteria that grow among their teeth. Just biting you, they'll bite you and let you walk off and track you for miles because they know you're going to drop.
And they can smell blood like a shark.
Mm-hmm. Well, in World War II, there were a bunch of Japanese soldiers that camped out on one of the islands on the beach, none knowing those things were there. And that night when they were asleep, those things came out of the woodwork and killed a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, looking at like the descriptions of the Chupacabra, it makes it about the size of a Komodo dragon. I mean, if you look at it compared to that goat, it seems now imagine iguana that size. Now you have your spines. It's not out of the realm of possibility that there's probably, possibly a relic lizard, subtype out there in like the deep desert that is similar to a Komodo dragon.
Yeah. Well, we know there are poisonous lizards in Arizona and New Mexico. The what do they call that thing? The Gila
monster. I started to say it because I always thought they were so pretty.
And they are kind of neat looking.
Yeah.
But they're also terrifying, though.
Yes, they are. I mean, we know there are dangerous lizards out there. Let me find a picture of a Gila monster.
Yeah, they're dangerous, but they're so pretty.
That's the fascinating part about dangerous animals. Like the
Yeah.
most poisonous, the most deadly are usually the prettiest.
Yeah, one of my favorite snakes. I just think it's gorgeous is the eyelash viper,
Mhm.
but it can kill you in an hour. So,
Anything that says has viper in it, I tend to want to leave it alone.
I know, but it has eyelashes. It actually has eyelashes. That's really cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty as can be. Put a little lipstick on it. You'd want to kiss it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no on that one.
Oh, come on, guys.
I don't know why, but that brought the imagery of that female gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It popped in my head when you said that.
I'm a firm believer there's only two kinds of snakes in this world. Kind of snake that'll kill you, and the kind of snake that'll make you kill yourself trying to get away from it.
Yeah, just like spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could spend hours telling you all the things I fear about spiders. The fact that most people don't see them for their actual size really bothers me. I can't stand it when somebody says, "Oh, it was only just so little," Isn't that pretty? I just think that's so pretty.
Yeah, he doesn't look that friendly to me.
Oh, well, I mean, he's probably hungry. He's got his mouth open. He's saying, "Feed me, feed me."
That's just
I
a
know.
head directly on a throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. Again, gonna pass.
They're so pretty, though. I can't help it.
I don't understand your fascination with reptiles. I will.
I don't know. I was married to one for a really long time. I can't help it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, I wish you could find a picture of an eyelash viper because they really have pretty eyes. I mean, they
Give me
do.
just a second, and I will do that.
And it's my favorite snake.
But you know,
but it's deadly poisonous.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying take it to bed with you and curl up with it or anything. Look at it through a glass window. Thick one.
It's over a foot thick, preferably.
Yeah.
but when you take into account that we're still finding animals, that we've never seen before. I mean, just recently there's been numerous reports of different creatures that we've never seen, both alive and dead. They're finding fossil records of whales with legs and all kinds of weird things. But you bundle that with the vast amount of unsettled country, both forest and desert and other places, it's almost illogical to try to say that that can't exist and apply that to anything.
Mhm.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's nothing about that says pet me.
No, look at it. It looks like a dragon. It looks like it should have wings behind it.
I wouldn't want to
I
pet a
don't
dragon
dragons
either.
And look at those big old eyelashes. Those big, thick
I
eyelashes.
learned that lesson in D&D a long time ago. You don't pet the dragon.
No, I agree.
Well, you won't do it twice. At least not with that character.
Only the bard is crazy enough to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, guys. I just think they're pretty.
So the majority of Chupacabra sightings coming out of Texas are these mangy dog-looking ones. Greg Price sent me a video, and I was kind of skimming through the video off to the side, and what they have trapped in that video looks very much like this. It looks like a puppy version of a mangy dog, or mangy coyote, or the coyote wolf hybrid, one of the two. But even from a distance, you can tell that's some type of canine. However, if you were coming across that, the only thing that would say canine about that is it's on 4 legs, and that is it. That's the only similarity. In fact, I would mistake that more for an Ozark's howler than a dog.
You think it wags its tail when it's happy?
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, I mean, could you tell if it's going to attack you by whether or not it's wagging its tail? Because obviously it has a really strong tail back there.
I'd say it's more like a T-Rex tail, probably used for counterbalance.
Oh yeah, or probably slapping you around.
That's
like the iguana, the Gila monster, and the Komodo dragon. They have really thick, massive tails too.
Yeah,
an iguana, a Gila monster, and a Komodo dragon went to a party, and
they all had a serving of blood and goat.
And just for the official record, folks, none of us here make any claims about being experts in any way about cryptids. This is all our opinion. This is what we've observed and what we've put together based on reading accounts. We are not the authority on this. This is our opinion. If you have a differing opinion, you think that it's something else, by all means, jump in. Your opinion is just as valid as ours. We don't know. We're just making suppositions based on observed.
That's true.
And I do firmly believe there's two types of these creatures. I think there's a lizard type, and I think there's that mangy coyote/wolf that is being mistaken for one.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't. My name doesn't belong next to the word authority in any capacity.
I'm trying to come up with something. Surely to God, I'm authority on something. Can't imagine what it would be. Bad decisions, maybe.
Right there with you.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that so many of these have toxic saliva.
Mm-hmm.
And then for whatever reason, my mind keeps telling me to point this out. A lot of people don't realize that, those little hard shell possums.
Armadillos?
Armadillos.
Up armored
actually.
Possums?
Yeah.
Armored possums.
I've been calling them that for a long time.
I call them possum on the half shell. But, they actually carry the bacteria that causes Hansen's disease or leprosy.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And, yeah. Don't pick one up and play with it. It's not a good idea.
Good.
Yeah, I don't mess with them.
But I'm just wondering if there's a possibility with the Chupacabra of some kind of bacteria. I guess what I'm saying is you would think that there would be claw marks where they hold them down, or footprints on their back or something.
Maybe.
And,
some of the accounts in Puerto Rico talked about seeing lizard-like tracks. I don't think I remember reading any track identification from the accounts down in Texas, other than them saying it was the pictures we showed of what's clearly a bald canine of some sort.
Maybe they have a way of paralyzing them at a distance in some way, whether that's
snakes have long been thought to be able to almost hypnotize prey items.
Right.
Yeah, they do me. I can't take my eyes off of them.
Maybe some sort of pheromone, or maybe they can even spit in their eyes with some sort of
like a
neurotoxin
cobra?
or yeah. There's a lot. If you look at reptiles in general, especially lizards, there's a lot of ways that you could almost build one of these creatures with all of the things that they're supposed to do, or things that we think they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we miss a question from Lanita? Because Meg says she's trying to get an answer. Is that a side conversation that I overlooked?
Let me scroll back. We've missed a bunch of comments.
Oh my! I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh no, it's as much my fault as anything, because I was looking downloading pictures and stuff.
But we're talking about people drowning.
Yeah, Werewolf says, "Yeah, I'm staying the hell away from that." I think he means that viper. I don't blame him.
They're so pretty, guys.
Dream says you can't pet a dragon twice with the same hand.
He's not wrong.
Lanita says, "What kind of snake is black with lime green spots on its belly?" Where did you see that at?
Black with lime green spots on its belly. I know anacondas have purple polka dots. At least that's what they look like to me.
A black snake with lime green spots. Did you see that in a zoo, or was it here in the States? Because that doesn't sound familiar. But then again, I'm not a snake expert by any means. TFE says, my kid brother got scratched by a Mojave after cutting its head off, lost his index finger, almost the hand, scratched just enough to draw a single drop of blood. Yeah, some of the toxins these reptiles possess are just unbelievable.
Yeah, the Papa Bear, you see his comment there, how many species we discover each year. And now, granted, that's when you're talking about all creatures, there's going to be tons of insects and stuff like that pad those numbers out, but it's not always small creatures.
Sometimes it's something big.
Absolutely.
TFV says y'all need to come to the White Mountains of Arizona, Apache Res to the south, Navajo Res to the north and east, plus all the strange lights in the sky. I would totally love that.
Heck
I would
yeah.
love to come on down there. Greg Bryce says, anyone know if InGen has a lab down that way in real life?
I mean, you never know.
Papa Bear says, according to Discovery, anywhere between 15,000 to 18,000 species are discovered every year. Yeah, like Josh was saying, a lot of those are insects, but we do occasionally discover something big. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago they discovered that species of deer in Vietnam that they'd never seen before.
Yeah.
The one that has the slits in the sides of its nose that it breathes through. The
Mhm.
billy ape. They recently discovered a new species shark, I think like 10 years ago. And then there was not too long ago, they discovered a species of whale. We've only explored a fraction of the ocean. God knows what's out there.
I don't like to think about it. Water freaks me out.
Just this last year, they discovered the little, it looks like a gremlin. What was the little guy's name before he got wet?
Oh, Gizmo?
Gizmo. And
You
they just, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're telling me they found a Gizmo?
Let me look it up. I'll find it.
Lanita
Oh
says
my
that
gosh.
snake was in her yard. It curled up beside her. TFV says Black Mamba had yellow or green.
Maybe she got
Lanita-
visited by Loki.
Yeah, Lanita, where are you at? What state? I'm not asking for general ideas, but just what state are you in? Because it can give me an idea. Irene Duet says, I think a Florida black racer. Yeah, I've seen black racer snakes. Those are really kind of neat looking snakes. Not that I'm going to pick one up and ask it. Chris Miller says, sounds like a garter snake. Wissaconsin says, asp species, green spots on black, if I remember correctly. But I think asps are only native to North Africa.
Mhm.
Lanita says, it act like a pet snake, wouldn't leave. Maybe it's some type of constrictor. Did you get a picture of it by any chance? What shape was its head?
I'm still thinking
good rule
Loki.
of thumb. If the shape of the head is kind of diamond shaped, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yep.
Well,
Greg
now
says
I
no
can't
hits on
find it.
green belly spots, but king snakes can have them all over. Greg says Mogwai or Mogwai.
Yeah.
Mogwai. Yeah, that was what Gizmo was a Mogwai. Don't get it wet.
We'll
says,
discover
a whole
few
new
years ago,
species.
another species of buffalo was discovered. Yeah, and I'm still, I'm still kind of, I know we brought it up. I need to do an entire show just on the billy ape, but the billy ape was one of those ones where I'll get to bust out my old English guy voice again.
There we go.
For years and years, the natives were telling people that. And even Michael Crichton wrote about it in the book Congo, the mysterious gray killer gorillas. And the natives were saying that there's these types of chimpanzee or gorilla out here that are hunting and killing lions. And the guys from National Geographic like, nah, surely not. Well, they asked, modern scientists, what are the chances of there being a killer ape? And of course, the National Museum of Science is like, oh no, it couldn't possibly exist. There's no such thing. There's no killer ape. And then
slams a dead one on the desk.
Yeah, National Geographic was setting up a shoot looking for mountain gorillas and found the billy apes and found out that 1, they tend to walk bipedal most of the time. 2, they're extremely aggressive and will attack just about anything. And 3, have been known to hunt and kill lions. So there is essentially a 6-foot tall chimp, aggressive, that weighs about twice as much as your average chimp. And chimps have been known to tear people's arms off and bite their face off. So what's an aggressive, bigger one going to do? If that's out there, that's not a huge leap of the imagination to think something like Bigfoot could be out there as well, because that's And I think there are types of Bigfoot that's what it is. It's just a big bipedal ape.
Well,
I'm not saying all species, but some of them very much so.
anyone who watches that Idaho video and doesn't question their belief in Bigfoot at this point is not really looking at it from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah, that Idaho video will. Yeah, I need
Shake you
to.
up.
I need to get that and play it on here, but I'm still kind of fuzzy on how to do videos.
Oh, we'll get you set up. Maybe you can do that
Okay.
Saturday.
That would be awesome. Meg says people let snakes go all the time. My friend may know he's a reptile genius. Yeah, in fact, people letting snakes go are the reason why Florida and the Everglades have such a huge population explosion of all these constrictors that have been let go. They've been eating everything. There are people that they go out in the Everglades all the time that are reporting you don't see raccoons and stuff anymore. It is very rare to see a small animal, and now they're trying to hunt gators. So
Yeah, they put a bounty on them. You
Oh, yeah.
can actually earn quite a bit of money going out and catching them. Good luck.
yeah,
Isn't that one of the possible explanations for the Florida skunk ape as well? That there just a lot of vanity apes got released into the Everglades and bred?
yes, yeah. Then they're breeding out of control. In fact, they're even seeing breeding going along between certain species, and they're afraid it's going to breed a type of super snake.
I said skunk ape.
Oh, skunk ape! I thought you were talking about the snakes. I
Sorry.
would say, sorry, I was on a tangent there.
That's okay. No, I said, isn't that one of the explanations for the possibility of the Florida skunk ape? That they were vanity apes that had been released and bred in the wild of the Everglades.
Could very well be. I mean, the descriptions of the skunk apes in Florida tend to be more chimp-like and less like the Patterson-Gimlin Pacific Northwest type. Wissaconsin says, we have red and blue dirt asps in Central Oregon. Only pre-1900 books have info on them. Locals know about them, but few others even think they exist. Kind of a cryptid snake. That's kind of cool. If you can get pictures of that, that would be kind of awesome. Northwest Cryptid says, the Billy Ape almost sounds like a gugway. They're about that temperament, just not as big.
In reference to the snakes in the swamp, anybody who remembers Wild Kingdom, and yes, I'm aging myself, will remember how Marlon Perkins used to go out with Jim. And Marlon would be sitting in the boat, and now Jim is going to go into the water and wrestle the anaconda, and I'm going to, Jim is under the water now, and hopefully he'll resurface. Look, the anaconda's wrapped around Jim. Should I do something about that?
I would have loved one episode for him to go, the hell I am.
I know, right?
My favorite was a comedian was making fun of Wild Kingdom. He's like, well, Jim wrestles the bull rhinoceros. I'm going to slip into the tent with a native girl and a picture of Mai Tais.
There you go. But it was pretty much like that. I mean, you'd watch Jim go in the water and you'd think, don't do that. What? Throw the old guy in. He's lived long enough.
Yeah, no kidding. Let Marlin get eaten. He's small enough. Greg was saying incorrect about pythons in Florida, escapees from pet shops and reptariums after the hurricanes. That's true. There was a lot of it. Yeah. But the documentary I was watching that had, what's his name? I can't remember his last name. Sheely. He's an expert on the skunk ape. But he's also talked a lot about the pythons. He was saying that a lot of it had been people that they got too big for their enclosures and let them go. So it is a lot that came from those like pet stops and stuff. Those released hundreds of them, but there were a lot of people that bought aggressive snakes and thought they could contain them. And when they started getting too big to control, they just let them go in the Everglades. So it's a little of both.
Like the lady who had the snake and she was so worried because it kept losing weight and it wouldn't eat. And so she finally took it to the vet. It was like a, big old long constrictor. And she says, I just don't know what's wrong with it. The vet says nothing. He's decided he's going to eat you and he's making room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
that's why I don't want a big constrictor as a pet. TFV says the area of Arizona I live in is insane, and in my small town has some very old buildings and houses with paranormal activity. I just lost that one. It jumped on me. I was reading off there. There we go. Houses with paranormal activity, cryptids. I know there's a few up on the mountain. Y'all want to come? I'll take you out. Yeah, I would absolutely love to. I've got some trips
Yes.
planned over the next few weeks. But I would say that's a very possibility. Maybe probably around springtime. Although winter in Arizona is much nicer than winter in Missouri, so that's a possibility too.
If my schedule ever opens up more, I plan on getting back to doing paranormal research and paranormal hunting. That depends on time.
I would like to get you down here and see if we can do a paranormal search at the old Pythian Castle.
I was hoping that's what you were going to say, because I've been wanting to do the Pythian Castle for a while.
They allow people in there to do ghost hunts.
That's awesome.
And it's open again. So
you're not going without me.
Okay, well, you're in. You'd have to
plan a trip.
Come join us. But
yeah.
I would like to do a live stream from there. Which with this, we are perfectly capable of live streaming.
All right.
We'll plan like a long weekend.
Yeah.
Just tell me when to be there, guys. Meg, I'm old. Me too, Marshall. I'm really old.
I know the feeling.
So, how about those meds?
Sorry, guys. I was reading. Could you tell I like an old person?
I was yawning.
Are we boring you?
No,
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I just recently got a new smartwatch, and it tracks my sleep. And apparently, I had a score of 28 out of 100 and had 0 minutes of deep sleep and like 5 minutes of REM. And I was awake as much as I slept. So I feel like ass, and my watch proved it. Yeah.
4 letters. CPAP. CPAP.
You might need a CPAP, brother.
My O2 is good. I breathe fine. I don't have like a lot of the symptoms of CPAP. I've tried one. I can't sleep with it on. I feel like I'm suffocating because there's something on my face. I won't ever sleep with one again unless it's life or death. But as long as I sleep in certain positions, O2 is good. And most nights are okay. Just last night sucked.
I was having a lot of trouble staying asleep, and I still only sleep for 3-4 hours at the most before I wake up, because my back gets to killing me if I don't get up and move after a while. So, I'll sleep 3-4 hours, have to get up and move around for a little bit, then lay down and sleep some more. But I found that when I do sleep, I can sleep deeper. I have these earbuds I can listen to, these cordless earbuds, and I will put on YouTube videos of like winter sounds, and I sleep like a baby. For those couple hours until I wake up hurting, but that's neither here nor there. Since we're at the top of the first hour, I'm going to go ahead and play a word from our sponsor, from Carrie over at Dark Angel Medical. If you guys need a med kit, I highly recommend Dark Angel Medical. I carried one for years as an officer, and you won't find a finer kit anywhere. Here's Doc.
Everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
And remember, they have what's called the Kit for Life guarantee. If you use your med kit to save a life, they will resupply the med kit for free for life. Best kits in the business. Josh, did we lose you?
Very cool. No, I'm here.
Okay. It's hard to tell when you don't have a photo. Well, you've got a photo. You don't have video.
When your photo doesn't move. Well, it does move.
Marshall says we don't sleep. We'll sleep well. We'll sleep when we're dead. You got a good point. I've got way too much to do while I'm here. So,
Josh,
Papa Bear says, Josh, I have a go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He says he has a great place for you to visit.
He's probably closer to you too.
Possibly. I'm Northwest Ohio. A lot of places I want to go out here. you can't. Like, I want to go to the old reformatorium in down by Ohio State. It's reportedly crazy haunted, but you can't get in. And then I want to go to Shawshank and then some other places, but they don't allow you to come in unless you're like a big budget TV show that fakes half your results.
Yeah.
Meg Mills says, I've seen demons and felt spirits. I think I chased a demon one night. That's the only thing I can explain it as. When I was working overnight security at the hospital here in town, the 6th floor of the hospital is nothing but mechanical. It's all the air moving equipment, the big air handlers, and in the middle of the night, it's empty. There's nobody in there, no maintenance, nobody. And the only way to get in and out is with the ID card. You've got to scan through these locks, and that's in and out. And I went on the floor, and it was just habit. I always walked every floor every night just to make sure I walked everywhere to make sure everything was in place. And I was walking through the floor about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And as I was walking around with my flashlight, because it's dark in there, I heard something, and I shined my light back, and I saw a figure, a completely dark figure. It was definitely humanoid shaped, but it was completely black. No features whatsoever, just black. Went from one side of a machine to the other. And I went running back there. I had to duck under a bunch of equipment to get back there. But when I got back there was nothing back there. And then I looked and I saw it move again. I spent 15 minutes chasing it around different parts of the floor. And again, the only way to get in or out is with a card. Until I saw it duck into the area where the elevator access was for maintenance. And I ran right around the corner. And those elevators are old and slow. There's no way somebody scanned their card, which I would have heard the beep, called an elevator to them, and then wrote it out. There was no way they could have gotten an elevator to them and on it, and the doors closed before I got there, because I saw them, and it was like maybe 10 seconds before I rounded the corner, and there was nobody there, and there was no movement on the elevators. I don't know what the hell I chased, but it was completely black. And like I said, I chased it for a good 15 minutes.
Speaking of demons, I gotta go to work. It's been fun hanging out with you guys.
All right,
but trailer's ready to roll. I need to bounce, but I will be listening.
Okay, you've got the trailer uploaded?
No, my trailer is done.
Oh, your okay, yeah, I get you.
My work trailer full of auto parts to deliver.
You want me to play the video game trailer that I have?
Yeah,
uploaded?
if you got a good spot for it, whenever you want to cut to it,
okay.
By all means. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Later, man.
Yep.
Bye. Meg says, bye, brother. Be safe.
Bye, Naomi.
Bye, sweetie.
Meg says, DA, you're younger than me. How old do you think I am? I may actually be older than you think I am. Irene says, Naomi, you are not old. I'm 68, and I tell them I'm 68 young. Yeah.
So I'll tell you about my age. I'm 56, but I keep forgetting that. I keep telling people I'm 36. And I started counting backwards when I hit 29. And when I get to 21, I start counting back up, and I go back and forth and back and forth. And honestly, I really do I forget. I think I'm in my 30s. I act like that. No, I act like I'm in my adolescence, but that's neither here nor there. That story that Denise Snyder has about the demon in her house in 2017 is really interesting. She's told me that before. Where are we? DA, I still remember you and me having to have Joe's. What's that one about, DA?
What he's referring to is Greg and I were roommates years ago. I was in my early 20s. This was before I was married. And we kept having something weird, like we would see something dark move from corner to corner of the apartment. And sometimes you would catch a glimpse of like a figure going from one room to the other. And it was just the two of us. And our friend Joe, his girlfriend was sensitive, and she practiced that sort of thing, and she came in and ran it out. It took her about an hour to run it out of our apartment. She said something negative had attached itself to our apartment and didn't want to let go, and explained why I could barely sleep there for quite a while. And when she ran it out, there was like a different place. I mean, the apartment had a different air to it entirely, but it took her a while to get rid of it.
I had a ghost who folded my laundry for me once.
Could you send them my way? I'll put them to work.
You think I'm going to let go of that?
No, heck no. The Werewolf 5674 says the basements in any hospital is freaky in the middle of the night. Yeah, I can tell you quite a few. I've had some really weird stories at the two properties that company owns here in town. More so on the north side of town than on the south side. But the South Hospital has some weird shit going on there too. A lot of it.
I've seen some pretty strange videos that came out of abandoned hospitals, and not just the mental asylums, because those are, like.
Well, hospitals see so much death. It is not unthinkable that something very dark and negative would feed on that.
Yeah.
Meg says, so I listened to testimonies of a man told of finding a Bigfoot sleeping in the woods when he was a boy. That's cool. Marshall says, Naomi, isn't that called fuzzy math?
Marshall, I've been told this is 8 inches my whole life, okay? What do you expect?
Oh, God, Naomi, I love you. You're so funny. Greg said he would never sleep with his back to the. I would sleep with my back to the wall, with his back to the walk-in closet in his room.
I have a compulsion to go walk around my house and make sure all closet doors are closed. I can't go to bed unless they are.
We have a kitchen cabinet, just one, and this is an older house, but the one that's for underneath the sink, I will shut it and feel it like click into place like it's supposed to, and I will walk back through the kitchen 5 minutes later, and that door's open, and I will shut it, and it'll stay shut, and I'll walk away, and I'll come back and walk through it. It might still be shut a few times, then I'll come through again, and it's open. And I had one night, I was. And this might have just been, because of the weight of me being there, but I just closed it and was getting a glass of water, and it opened up and hit me in the thigh while I was standing there.
Yeah.
Gail says, I like to know there's a sequel to Lakeview Man. I just loved it and don't live far from Central Missouri. Yeah, Lakeview 2 is called First Duty. It is out. And it's more focused on Amanda's character. She becomes sheriff. So check out Lakeview 2. Naomi is going to be doing the audiobook version of that. She's already been working on it. And she should have a teaser of that up before too long. It's going to be the prologue, the introduction. So Lakeview 2 is out. And I'm working on Lakeview 3 as we speak. It's going to be called Lakeview Man Beast of Blunk Road. And it's going to deal with the Ozarks Howler.
And if you haven't heard some of his amazing stories about the Ozark Howler, you need to go to Dixie Cryptid. Is that on the What If It's True podcast?
I think it's the ones that got picked up by that newspaper. Yeah, that's on the What If It's True.
Fantastic stories. I go back and listen to those narrated all the time. Well, they're just fantastic stories. I like to go back and listen to those, and I don't even like the sound of my own voice.
Well, you did a great job.
I love those stories. I truly do.
Meg says, DA, you're in your 50s, and I'm 63. Well, you got me there. I am in my 50s. I feel older. It's not the years, it's the mileage.
The fun thing about it is that the older I get, the funner life is. I mean,
maybe you just care less.
Yeah, I really I love the gray hair. I'm so digging that I could almost scream that I don't have more of it. I love the wrinkles. They're making my face finally look interesting, so that's really cool. If I ever write my life story, I'm going to call it My Parenthetical Smile because of all these wrinkles around.
Irene says, I saw the angel of death when he came into the house and escorted my husband's spirit home. My grandmother said almost the same thing. That after my grandfather passed, she saw it walking the hallways. And that's pretty chilling. I don't know that I haven't seen that, but I talked to nurses at the hospital I worked at that they would see a shadow move out of a room right before the patient coded. There's one room at the South Hospital where if you go into the room and look at your reflection in the big window that looks out over the street, you can see the image of a little girl standing behind you. That scared a lot of people out of that room. It's made patients leave the room. And a lot of people have seen that.
I have kind of an interesting story that when my mother, she had cancer and died in 2002, and she was at home on hospice care the last 2 months of her life. And the family was always gathered around her, and we knew she wasn't going to make it, and she was just fighting for whatever reason to keep surviving. And so we would gently talk to her and would say, "We've got this under control. You don't have to be afraid to leave us. It's okay. Just let us go, let it go. And we love you and we'll see you again someday." That kind of conversation. And one night my mother said, "I can't go. Jesus won't let me." And my sister-in-law said, "How do you know that?" And she said, "Because he's standing right there." Everybody turned and looked at the corner of the room. And of course I was sleeping, but I missed it. But I've always thought that was a cool story. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't use the cough button.
There's a cough button?
Well, it's a mute button. But anyway, I have kind of an interesting phenomena here when I'm back in my corner in my bedroom working. I have to close my door and lock it at night because I keep seeing shadows moving up and down the hallway. Haven't figured out what they are yet. I'm sure I'll come up with a logical explanation, but they freak me out.
We've seen stuff move here in our house, and every once in a while the dog will just growl at something. He'll like get up and look at something and then come lay down by me or my wife. I'm firmly convinced there's something in the house. I don't think it's malicious. It's never really done anything other than just like opening cabinet doors and occasionally hiding an object. But still, I'm convinced there's something there.
Yeah, I could tell you story after story.
I've had a lot of weird things happen to me in my life. Part of why I've been such a huge proponent of investigating cryptids, but a lot of like weird, like horror type stuff, like ghost type stuff. A lot of stuff that I couldn't explain when I was working as an officer and as a security officer at the hospital, because the hospital only wanted to hire off-duty cops as the overnight security. I was the head of overnight security for the South Campus, and I've seen some weird crap while I did that, and hospitals will freak you out. They just, I've got a lot of weird stories I could tell, but I don't want to spend the entire night talking about that. We have already covered the ground we wanted to cover with the Chupacabra, so I guess it's kind of open mic at this point. We're talking about anything, but again, I think that some of the weird stuff that I've seen, even as a little kid, is what really inspired me to get into all of this and to write horror.
I actually want to hear some of these stories. I don't know about anybody else, but that really fascinates me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff from when I was a kid?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one I remember, and this was I know people say, "Well, you can't remember stuff from that young." My memory is really good. I remember a lot of things that happened when I was like just out of my toddler stage. I had a small bedroom that was just off my parents' bedroom on the farm we lived on. And on the other end of the house, my other siblings. I'm the youngest of 11 kids. Not all of us lived at home at the same time. My oldest brothers and sisters were already out of the house, but there was about 6 of us home at any one given time. But their bedrooms were in the other end of the house, and mine was just off our parents' bedroom. And I remember, and a lot of Native American cultures believe that an owl is an omen of death. But for every night for about a week, there were no trees outside my bedroom window. You could just open it and crawl out, because I used to do it all the time. But and we didn't have central heat and air. We burned wood in the wintertime, and in the summertime we just had a fan in the window. I remember one summer, fan in the window every night for a week. My mother would not let me sleep in my room. She made me sleep on a pallet next to the bed on her side of the bed, away from the window, because they told me that there was a screech owl outside my window, and it was there constantly, and it would right outside my bedroom window and shriek. And I took them at their word for it, that it was just a screech owl. But I noticed my dad kept his shotgun next to the bed, and he didn't always do that. And that when it was shrieking at the window, it just dawned on me later that there was no tree out there. So what the hell was screaming in my window as a child? It was bad enough my mother wouldn't let me sleep in that room until it finally went away. And then I got to reading some accounts later. In fact, I wasn't much older than that. I was probably 9 or 10 when I read the first account of Bigfoot coming to children's windows and trying to lure them outside. And I firmly believe that's what it was. My dad kept a loaded gun next to the bed. My mom wouldn't let me near the window or go back in my own room. And it was every night for at least a week. It might have been longer. I was, like I said, I was pretty small, but I do remember that, and I do remember the screech of it outside the window. And my mom said, "It's okay, go to sleep. It's just a screech owl." I never saw it, and I never got up and went to the window to look. But they wouldn't let me anywhere near my bedroom for that whatever period of time that was. It was at least a week.
Wow.
I think something was trying to lure me out of my bedroom window because as a kid, a farm kid when I was too young to go to school, I just opened that window and out into the yard and be out playing. My mom was like, "Douglas Allen, get your butt in this house. Put your clothes on." Be out there in my pajamas playing in the dirt. And I was just the kind of idiot kid I was. I mean, my brothers and sisters, we grew up on that farm, and we were always out running around on the farm or out in the woods or playing with BB guns or just doing all kinds of goofy crap that kids do. And I can remember the apple trees behind our house getting picked clean, and my dad being mad as hell that even the apples up in the top were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he said, thought it was. I said it was probably the neighbors, but I know for a long time they wouldn't let us kids go out after dark. And I remember in the night, my brother Buddy, and I hope he's listening tonight because he'll remember this. We had living out in the country in the early 70s. You didn't get trash service to your door, so we had a burn pile where they would go out and they would go out and burn the trash, all the stuff that could be burned. Everything else, of course, got bagged up and either taken to town or thrown in a dump. But I remember my older brother Buddy, and he would have been junior high at the time. Kept saying, "I'll take it out in a minute. I'll take it out in a minute," as kids will do. Well, he finally put it off long enough that he had to take it out after dark. And he said it was a wolf, but something with glowing eyes at the burn pile chased him all the way back to the house. And he put his arm through the window getting in the house, cut him up pretty bad. But he said it was a big wolf. He just kept saying it's a big wolf. It's a big wolf. And he wouldn't really talk about it much after that. But I wasn't out there. I didn't see it. I was probably 4 at the time, 4 or 5. But I remember distinctly I was in the kitchen when he came through that door, and whatever it was terrified him.
Wow.
We had some creepy stuff out there.
Is this the same time as the Demon Pig Cave, or?
Oh, Pig! You didn't. I didn't tell you about Pig Demon Cave. Pig Demon Cave, and it's still there. Could take you right to it. There's this cave it's outside Eldridge, Missouri. It's actually about 6 miles from my Uncle Buddy's place. And you have to sign in and out of the cave because it's on private property. And when we went up to the cave the first time, the owners of the cave were just odd people. I mean, nice enough, but just really odd. And there's a great big mural on the side of their house that had been obviously painted. And there were like dead farm animals and this giant winged pig standing on its hind legs. And I jokingly said, "We're not going to see that in the cave, are we?" And the guy turned around to me and goes, "You better hope you don't."
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, that's not weird at all. So the 6 of us went down to the cave.
You will still win.
We still win. Yeah, we were idiots.
I guess.
We went crawling back in the cave, and you can go back pretty far, and it's a very muddy cave. You most of the time you're like crawling on you're using your elbows to dig in the mud to wiggle through, and it's a very muddy cave. Well, I got as far back as we could go, and it was just a little bitty opening. And they were like, "We can't get through that. It's too small." So I tried to wriggle through it, and I could see that it was a narrow shaft for about 3 feet, and then it opened up into a much bigger room. I'm like, "There's another cave back there. Think we can force our way through it?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know." Well, I start trying to shove my way through, and I've got pretty big shoulders, but I had the light up ahead of me, and I heard something move in the other side of that cave, and then I heard it running toward me. And I just backed back out and dove away. I'm like, get out of here! Get out of here! There's something back there. And I didn't know if it could get through that hole or not, but we never went back.
That is really scary.
And I could still take you to that cave. And I bet that mural's still on the side of that house because it's the same family that owns that cave.
Yeah.
At one time, they'd planned on opening it for commercial exploration, as they strung lights in part of it, and you can still see the old rusted out chunks of the lighting that they'd driven into the rock. But they never opened it to the public, and that stuff is just sitting there rotting.
That's just crazy.
My mother used to love old ghost stuff. Her and her sisters and her siblings would go ghost hunting. There's a lot of places up in Laclede County that are just creepy as hell. We had something we were there's an old quarry, an old rock quarry between Lebanon and Phillipsburg, Missouri. And it's closed off now. You can't get to it, but that was the swimming hole when I was a kid because it was spring fed. What happened was they were digging limestone out of that quarry and they dynamited into a spring. And it was gushing water out to the point they had to just basically evacuate. And there's still heavy equipment and according to legend, boxes of dynamite down there in that flooded quarry. Well, we used to swim in it all the time, and I snorkeled in it and stuff. But usually come nightfall, everybody left. Well, one night, me and a buddy of mine decided we were going to camp down there. I had an old pickup, and we set up a couple of tents, and we were down on the lower end. And something came out of the woods at the far end, shrieking and hooting and hollering and throwing big rocks in the quarry. And we threw our crap in the bed of the truck and got the hell out of there. We never tried to spend the night again. Don't know what it was, but it wasn't happy we were there.
As long as you were smart enough to understand that, you're okay.
Yeah, clearly it didn't want us there, and we weren't going to argue the point. We were both armed, but we were gonna concede the point. I'm like, okay, fair enough, it's yours.
Oh shoot, this is appropriate right here. As much pork as I eat, I don't want to run into a monster pit. Gonna get even with you.
Yeah, I wonder, that would be a great place to film. I wonder if I could go down there and get film of that pig demon mural. That would be pretty cool. I'm not going to hike down to the cave anymore, not with my back the way it is. It was something of a hike to get down to it. But I could direct people right to the cave. I mean, it's pretty easy to find. But I'd like to go get some shots of that mural.
Yeah. I am trying to get myself out of this mess. I don't know how to operate this thing.
Well, we're in the same boat. Tragedy's about to strike. I'm about one swallow away from being out of coffee.
Oh, no. I'm drinking sweet tea tonight. I think it's really running through me.
I should have made some sweet tea.
Yeah.
TFV says, Missouri, I got a lot of family around Springfield, Ava, and down near the Arkansas border. Ava's down in what we call Booger County.
Guess why?
Ask your family why they call it Booger County. I'll leave it at that. It's got something of a reputation. Northwood says, DA, have you ever watched the series Grimm? I have not. Is it good? I don't watch much TV. I spend most of my time either writing or promoting the books or doing something like that. Josh says, we'll have to have a restream boot camp. Oh, well, we both need it, so definitely.
Yeah.
Werewolf says, be cool to get a picture of the mural. I will try to do that. I don't think the wife and I got any plans for the weekend. I've got the show on Saturday. But maybe Sunday we can drive up there and I'll see if I can get a picture of the mural.
That would be cool.
I would like to get some shots of them. I'm not going to go down to the cave. It's something of a hike. There's a place just off the road where you pull off and you have to climb over the gate. And then one time there was a road down to it, but it's so washed out and overgrown now you couldn't take anything but maybe an ATV down there. And that would be pretty cool to go down there, but I'm not hiking it. I could get down there well enough because it's all downhill, but getting back out, it might be a little tough.
What was the name of the town where you got creeped out in Arkansas?
Which one?
Eureka Springs. Asking.
Eureka Springs is all right, but there's a little town called Hardy. It's on the way to Jonesboro. And my wife likened it to the movie to the movie Needful Things, because it seems like at sundown they roll up the sidewalks. You can't find a damn thing open in Hardy, Arkansas. It's a creepy little town that just goes into hibernation at the day when the sun goes down. Neat little town, kind of a picturesque little town, but just creepy as shit when the sun goes down. And every time we would go through there in the daylight, we thought, "Oh, this is a cool little town." We actually stopped at one of the little shops one time, but then we were going through again in the dark, and I'm like, "Is this the same town?" It'll creep you out.
I'm gonna shake my camera. I'm having.
Josh says, if you have time to watch anything, watch Grimm. We'll have to sell the wife on that, because I haven't had control of the remote since I'm going to guess Clinton was in office last time I had control of the remote. So we watch what she wants to watch. Northwood says I should check it out. Greg says that's the one. Yeah, Hardy's a creepy little town. Neat little town in the daylight, but like as soon as it gets dusky, it's like everybody scurries indoors. Marshall says, DA, have you ever been to Bon Terre Mine? It's been a dive attraction since 1980. I've seen videos on it. I've never been in it. The wife and I want to go up there and check that out. Josh says, I think it's a show your entire family would enjoy watching. Well, let's see if I can get the wife sold on it. That's the trick. Once she decided she liked Supernatural, I think she's ran through the entire run of Supernatural 3 or 4 times. And that's 15 seasons with like 20, 24 episodes a season. She has flat binge watched the crap out of that one.
I've never seen it.
It's a good show. I mean, they talk about a lot of the same stuff we talk about, but they take a lot of liberties with it. Like in the second episode, they did a Wendigo story, and the story itself was good. I mean, I thought it looked more like a rake than a Wendigo. And they talked about how fast it was, but he still managed to kill it with a flare gun. So I'm not 100% sure it would have worked the way it showed on the show, but it was still a cool show and it was entertaining. A lot of the stuff they talk about, they take a lot of liberties with the lore. Like they deal with werewolves and they have vampires and stuff like that, but they're just different enough to be different. Their own takes on it. So, but they're still enjoyable. They're a kind of a fun little escape to watch once in a while. Jim Roll says, if you want a creepy town in Missouri, try Vallis Mines. Where is that at?
Yeah.
There's a ghost town just outside of Springfield. I used to be a patrol officer in Walnut Grove, Missouri, and just outside Walnut Grove is the ghost town of Phoenix, Missouri. And it's not spelled like Phoenix. It's like Phenix or something like that, but they pronounced it Phoenix. And a lot of it's still there, but it's on private property. It's owned by one of the local quarry companies. So I want to get a hold of that quarry company and see if I can get permission to go in there and film. But it's a neat little place.
I'm just trying to catch up on some of the Grimm is 6 seasons. Yeah.
Jim says Franklin County. I clicked on the wrong one. Franklin County. It's like a ghost town, but barely inhabited. Well, that sounds like right up my alley. Yeah, I'll definitely be locating that and going to check it out. Greg says, anyway, I need to get back to riding. Good night, all. Good night, Greg. Thanks for hanging out, bud.
Good night,
Josh
Greg.
says, if she likes Supernatural, there's a good chance she'll like Grimm just as much. Well, she loves Supernatural.
I'm assuming Grimm is about Grimm fairy tale type stuff.
Probably. I'm
The
going to
real
assume.
Grimm fairy tales before they
got
went them out.
Disneyfied.
Yeah.
Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame when they were making that one. I'm like, is it going to end the way the book ends?
Yeah. It doesn't end well.
Yeah, it's not going to be a happy ending for children. They are not going to appreciate the end of that, nor would they have appreciated the true story of Pocahontas, not the Disney version.
No, definitely not. But the original Grimm story tales are fantastic. If you read the old original ones, if you can find them, and all like the Cinderella stepsisters cut off their feet or chopped the ends off their feet so that
Chop the
they could
toes
fit
off to
in.
fit in the shoe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a happy ending right there. Oh,
I know, right? I could never be that desperate for a husband. I could be that desperate for a divorce.
What I don't understand is, I know how many size patterns come in shoes. You can't tell me that there's not a single person in that entire surrounding area that had
Yeah.
same size feet as her.
I know. She had teeny tiny little 8-inch feet.
Tiffy says, I know why my uncle, who's a nom vet, has a place just south of a wide spot in McClurg. Want to go camp? Well, hell yeah, I'd go. What's out there? If there's something creepy out there, I want to do it.
So again, drop the phone someplace where we can find it.
I'll try to make sure I've got a good uplink so I can film it right up to the last second.
I'll ask him, Lenita.
Werewolf says all fairy tales were twisted.
Oh, yeah.
Irene says you should check out Hiawatha National Forest. What state's that in? I may have the wife talked into making a trip to a certain place just outside Elkhorn, Wisconsin, hopefully in the not too distant future, but we'll see.
I've been down that road purely by accident, but I have been down that road.
Well, I want to go down that road.
Yeah,
and I want to do it at
see
night.
Anything. It was nighttime
either. But I will be driving with this on hanging on the dash cam. You can bet the dash cam's going to be going the whole time.
Yeah, I wish I'd known that's where I was at. I mean, I would have been a little more observant. I was just trying to find my way back to civilization at that point. And
Hiawatha National Forest is in Michigan. That's Upper Peninsula. Unless it's Upper Peninsula, that's not too far. Michigan's probably only 10 hours. I know that's a Midwest thing. We say open, I think 12 hours ain't too far to drive.
Yeah, it is a Midwest thing. But anyway, so I would hope that if you do go up there, you get something.
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
If I do, I want to do it right. I want to go talk to that reporter that's chronicled it. I want to do the whole 9 yards.
Linda,
I'll probably, if I get a chance to go, I want to spend a few days. But that's just like a plan for at some point in the future. I've given her a list of places I want to go. Like I want to go to Taylor, Mississippi. Why?
I do too, actually.
It's the Seizure Lockett Ranch. What's the Seizure Lockett Ranch? Do you pay attention to any time I talk?
Don't ask, Annette. You don't want to know. Just go and lock the doors. I do think, though, that anywhere you go, I'm going with her because she seems to be the only one smart enough not to get out of the car.
That is her thing. Yeah, she will film. She'll film and give running commentary, but she ain't getting out. And she's a crack shot, so.
Okay, well, she and I are going to be locked at the hips, and that's all there is to it. I'm not going anywhere without her. But I do think that it would be fun to go down to Taylor, Mississippi.
I also want to go to Hanabi, Oklahoma. There's so many places I want to go. I want to go down to New Orleans and find a Rougarou.
I want to go down to New Orleans, but I have other things I want to find there.
Preferably a big box of beignets.
I can make those at home.
Yeah, but they're not it's not the same when you make them home. You want one that's from there.
That's true. That's true. We have a Cajun restaurant here, and I get, what is the big round sandwich? The olive loaves, the olive loaf.
The muffletta.
The muffletta. I love those.
So good.
And we have a Cajun restaurant here where I go get. Well, he closed with the recent events that have been going on for the last year and a half. But I'm hoping he's reopening because, man, I love their mufflettas. I think they're fantastic. That's my favorite sandwich besides a Cuban.
Schlotsky's makes a pretty good muffletta.
Do they?
We got one of those here in town. That muffletta bread is warm. Oh my God, they make one that's got a spicy sauce on it. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Jacob Hayes says, "Hey, do you know somewhere in Canada, in Surrey, British Columbia, where alien abductions happen?" Yeah, I think. What was it? Somebody did a show on that recently. I can't remember the name of the podcast. I was watching that one on that very thing not too long ago. There's a lot of strange stuff going on. There's also the what they call the Highway of Tears up in Canada, where a lot of, and primarily Native American women, but a lot of women in general have been abducted along that road. They'll find their vehicle abandoned. Some people think it's a work of a very prolific serial killer or a group of serial killers. There's a growing number of people that think cryptids are involved, specifically Bigfoot, which is
There
something else I
is
would like to look into.
there is one place in Canada I have no desire to go to at all, and that is the Valley of Headless Man. I just don't want to go.
I want to go there.
I'm sure you do. Have fun.
You know I do. You don't want to go there.
I
Meg
have
wants
no
to know if you're
desire.
closer to getting your book out.
I'm trying, Meg. I'm trying.
Meg, she sent me part of it to read. It is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Has there been anything happen at the Lockett Ranch since? As far as I know, it has been abandoned since the 50s. Since the siege happened, nobody has lived on that land, as far as I know. I want to go down there and do some research, see if I can locate. And supposedly, one of the survivors of the Lockett family still lives in that area. So I'm going to try to see if I can locate the survivor. Maybe have a scheduled time to drive down there, sit down with them, talk about it, see if they still own the land. Because if they own the land, I want to get permission to go on the land and film. And that's going to be a time when I'm going to have to probably get somebody to go with me that's really good at operating a drone, or figure it out myself, because I want to get some aerial footage of around to the old property, and then try to go as far back as I can in the woods and see if I can see something from fairly high up.
I will say that there is a lot of activity that has gone on there and does go on there. There are certain roads in that area that people just say don't drive at night.
I read an account from a trucker near Taylor, Mississippi, who was running at the end of his logged hours, and basically pulled off on an overpass, pulled up on the off ramp, and pulled off onto the shoulder, and was going to grab a few hours sleep before he could start driving again. And a dog man tried to get in the cab of the truck with him.
Yeah, he could have the truck. I'd be climbing out the roof.
He said he looked over, he kept feeling something looking at him, and he kept looking into the side mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking in the side mirror, looking down the back of the trailer, and he was focused on that mirror. And then he realized that there was light, and he turned his head a little bit farther, and he saw the reflection of its eyes looking in the window at him. And he'd been looking at the mirror, and it was right there.
Oh my gosh.
The account said that it was looking at him in the face. And from what he could tell, it was not standing on the running board. It was standing flat-footed, looking in the cab.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And the guy that was doing the interview asked him, "What'd you do then?" And he said, "Well, I got the hell out of there. What do you think I did?" Screw the logbook. I'm leaving.
Yeah. That's why they call it the funny book.
Yeah. Marshall Schroeder says, "DA, do you have a death wish?" No, I just have I have the curiosity of a cat. It'll probably get me in trouble one of these days, but I've even when I was a cop, when I was on the riot team, I never wanted to be the second guy through the door. I always wanted to be the first one. And it's just a curiosity I'm dying to know. I'm a fairly, even with a back injury, I'm a pretty tough old bastard. So yeah, I'm going to go down swinging, and I'll get my licks in. I guarantee you. Like I went to arrest a guy one night, and he was about twice my size. He was probably 6'8", close to 300 pounds. And I told him to turn around and put his hands behind his back. I was putting him in cuffs, and he goes, "I will beat your ass." I said, "Yeah, you might get it done, but in the long, cold, dark hours of the night, when the joints of your knees are killing you, you will remember my name." And he looked at me and goes, "Okay," and turned around and put his hands on his back. Because I will attack those joints.
Oh Oh, shoot. That's funny.
Denise says the last book of yours that I read had kept me jumping at shadows for weeks. Well, that's one of the greatest compliments an author can get, was when the book affects them that much. I'm sorry I made you jump at shadows, but at the same time, I'm kind of proud of that. That's pretty awesome.
What is that funny? Once you get this, where's Cranberry Lake?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know that one too. I'm not sure where Cranberry. Spent a lot of time on Cranberry Lake. That sounds like a great place to fish and camp.
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, I heard that podcast." Meg says, "Lanita meaning a TV, like we watched as kids and shows, ripped mine out of my travel trailer." James Gralski says, "Funny, once you get the smell of something, smell or feeling of a Sasquatch, you can find that smell or feeling driving around the country. No lie, it can make your skin crawl." Talk about conditioned learning, and I guess it cut him off. In response, here's the other part of that. Yeah, there are some places that like if I go in the woods, you can just get that almost sixth sense feeling. When you know when something's not right, and it's not just because the sounds of the woods have faded away or stopped entirely. You just get that feeling like the hairs on the arms and the back of your neck stand on end. I had a buddy used to refer to that as good old fashioned ass saving fear. It's survival instinct on the most primitive level, and I felt that a number of times. Going in places, we went down to a place called the Devil's Kitchen down by Ha Ha Tonka, and we went at night. You weren't even supposed to be back there, but we snuck down there and went down to Devil's Kitchen, and we were almost within sight of the place when I stopped, and I'm like, we shouldn't be here. And everybody's like, oh, no, come on. I said, no, stop and listen for just a second. And everybody stopped, and we're sitting there with our flashlights, and my buddy Rick looks at me and goes, let's get the hell out of here. I'm like, you feel it too, don't you? He's like, yeah, we shouldn't be here. Something's telling us we shouldn't be here.
I want to give a brief explanation of the Valley of Headless Men because several people are asking. It's a place in Canada. I believe it's a national park up there now. It started out, there were three brothers. Okay. There were three brothers. It's extraordinarily remote. You can't just drive to it. You have to, it takes some doing to get in there. Three brothers went up there to prospect for gold because they had heard that there was a really good gold mine or gold strike up there, vein up there. And they mined all summer. They got tons of gold. As they were coming out, they lost the gold. Their boat capsized. And they went back home and they were entirely dejected. And they thought, well, we've lost it all. Two of the brothers decided they wanted to go back. One of the brothers said, I ain't going. So they got another guy to go with them, and they went back. And after about a year, they hadn't heard from him, and a little while longer, they hadn't heard from him. So finally, the oldest brother, or the brother who didn't go back, decided to go looking for his other two brothers in the sky, and found them with no heads. Other people have gone up there, and they have been found with no heads. They don't come back, and when they find them, their heads have been ripped off their bodies. And they call it the Valley of Headless Men. It's got a lot of, there's a story of a lady who was last seen running up a hillside shrieking like she had lost her mind. There's a lot of really strange folklore that goes along with that, a lot of strange activities and a lot of strange accounts. But they call it the Valley of the Headless Men because people, not to sound like I'm trying to make a pun here, but people go up there and they lose their heads.
There's a valley in the Superstition Mountains of Arizona where the same thing has happened, where they warned prospectors not to go, and when they didn't report in, they'd send in a search party and they'd find the body with no head.
Yeah.
Weird that the same thing's happening.
Yeah, those are places I really don't want to go. And for one thing, I can't jump in.
Yeah, I just don't want to go alone.
I can't. Well, yeah, because it really saved those guys to go up there in a group of 3, didn't it?
Well, I would go with a very well-armed party.
I need
Werewolf
to go
56,
someplace where I can get to my car and run or drive off.
True. If I went to a place like that, I would probably want to, unless it's a place you can only get to by horseback or foot, I'd probably take one of those side-by-sides, those all-terrain, like 6-wheel side-by-sides that you can haul your gear in.
Mm.
Uh, I'm sad to say, but my long distance hiking days may be behind me, and that's just a statement of the fact. But it just doesn't stop my mind from wanting to explore. It doesn't deny that craving that I have to find the weird and the macabre and to check out these places. It just means I'm a little less mobile than I used to be, but I'm going to find a way to get there. Werewolf 5674 says your books make me want to go look more. Well, thank you. I'm happy it does. Question everything and don't forget to look up.
That's really a big one.
You might be surprised. James Garlsky says true mad heart rate pounds so loud you can hear it. Yeah, you can feel that. Josh pointed that out. I should have been saying this a long time ago. If you guys are enjoying the episode, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. He says, let's get DA up to that 1,000 mark. We're close. We're almost 800. I would love to see us hit that 1,000 mark. In fact, I'll tell you what, when we hit 1,000, I will give away a signed first edition copy of the original printing of my first Ragnarok book. I still have a few in a box. And we'll give away a signed first edition, no longer in print. Can't find it anywhere. I saw one somebody was trying to sell on Amazon, and I just died laughing when I saw that one of the original books signed was going for like $2,500. I was like, that's awesome. Clearly, I'm not making that a copy, but
Yeah.
somebody's trying, and good on them.
If only we could.
Meg says, since the 1800s, there have been many gold seekers that have become beheaded in that place. Yeah, there's a lot of stories of it. Richie Evans says, there are 2 spots where I hunt in Florida State Park. I won't ever hunt again. What was that? Because of skunk ape or alligators? What kind of encounter made you not want to hunt there anymore?
Yeah,
elaborate, those are the stories I love to hear when hunters don't want to hunt someplace, because that's generally something pretty bad.
Yes.
Oissa says Bigfoot doesn't like the smell of fear. They will attack you if you let adrenaline hit your skin. I believe that's predator behavior. Any predators like that. If you show fear, they will eat you alive. That's something I used to tell when I was a corrections officer when I was training the newbies. I'd say, man, you've got to treat this like you're walking through a room full of dangerous animals. If you show fear, they will eat you alive. And I've had rookies that could handle it, and I had rookies that couldn't. But I was the guy that would walk into, well, they used to put me in our Bravo pod, which was where all the violent offenders were. And I was the kind of guy, I would go pull up a chair, sit down at a table with a group of guys and shoot the shit. And as a result of me talking to everybody like I'd talk to a guy at the bank, I had quite a bit of respect in those pods because I didn't treat them like animals until they gave me a reason to. They were just people. They might have done something horrendous, but I had to treat them just like I would someone at the bank until I had a reason not to. And that's with any predator. If you run from a predator, you're going to kick in its response to attack. James Grosky says, yeah, Richie, my dad told me never go up in one part of the woods. My uncle was the same way. There were places on his land he would tell people, don't go, and especially certain times of the year, like late fall. Irene DeWitt says, oh, yeah, when I go home in the spring, I will be fishing, enjoying the UP Upper Peninsula from Sugar Island to Iron Mountain. I might never come back. I don't blame you. That's a beautiful country up there. That's why I set the second book of the Codename Wild Hunt series there. It's set in the Upper Peninsula region. Codename Wild Hunt Curse of the Wendigo is set in the Upper Peninsula. So if you haven't read it, check it out. Meg says, Jim, are there native burial grounds or Gugway? Yeah, definitely don't want to run into that. Josh says, DA goes live every Wednesday and Saturday. Be sure to hit that bell and know when he's going live. Thank you, Josh. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. I'm way behind on messages.
I've not been helping. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Marshall, so this is my first wife almost made me lose my head, tried to drive me nuts. Can understand that. Richie Evans says Marshall Three Bridge Road in Hernando State Park is in the same as gun range as that too. There's a Bigfoot encounter at a gun range that turned deadly. I'll have to tell that story here in a minute. Papa Bear says, have you ever driven down Zombie Road outside of St. Louis, DA? I have not, but I've been talking to the guys that run the podcast called Creepercast. I've done their show a couple times. I'm going to get those guys on here. They're from just up the road in Rolla, Missouri. So I'm going to be going actually up there to do a show with them in their studio in the not so distant future, probably within the next few weeks. Hopefully very soon, because we're going to go film some footage where the Ozarks Howler was seen outside Rolla, and talk to the witnesses that saw it. It was seen on a walking trail on a park just outside of Rolla, Missouri. And I talked to the guys from the Creepercast, and they it's I called it Creepercast. It's not the Creepercast. God dang it, that was a different show. Let me pull it up. I'm sorry, because I feel bad for calling it the wrong thing. Hell, now I'm not even sure what to look up. I hate when I do that. I'm sorry. I had a complete brain fart. I'll think of it in a minute. But we're going to go up as a group to Zombie Road and try to head up there. I'll post a link to their show here in a minute. But that's something I'm planning on doing. Denise says, sometimes when we are feeding horses at night, they will all stop and look off in the same area. We wait for a deer or something like that to come out of the timber. Horses have very good senses when it comes to stuff like that. If your horse is nervous, there's a reason. Denise says usually they will turn and bolt to the other end of the pasture. Have that happen after reading a scary story. Yeah, that'll get you going. James Goralski says, in Massachusetts, sometimes you don't need to hours away to have an experience. All of us have luck without asking, looking, or knowing. Yeah, there's creepy stuff in every state. It doesn't matter where you go. You can, if you look, you're going to find it. Richie says the other's on a handicap road in the same park. I'm disabled too. Yeah, I do have to do most of my hunting from a vehicle these days, but I'm still going to do it. Lanita says that sounds great, DA. Meg says DA jealous, Naomi Okie, no worries. TFE says there's Cranberry, Crystal, Parsons, and the flowage to the northwest of, what's that, Minong? About 15 miles from Gordon. I am way behind, and I cannot get caught up. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to have to like pick and choose on the comments because we've got so many of them, which is awesome. I love you guys for that. Thank you so much, but I apologize that I'm not going to be able to keep up with all of them. Oh, there's a good question for Naoma. Did anything ever come of that radio station that published a story about Dixie Cryptid? You're muted. I can't hear you. What the heck? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Naoma? Hang on, let me pop you off the stream and put you right back in. Did that help? You might have to log out and log back in. For some reason, we lost audio. I'll keep working on the comments while you're doing that. Awissa says, I had an old female Bigfoot I tracked for 3 years. She led me half a mile into her territory one day to see how I would act. She was sitting 10 feet away from me, and she had to get my attention. She smiled. That would be pretty intense. Meg says, like in the book, that was intense. Will fighting dogmen. Yeah, I love those. Those are my favorite scenes, the action scenes. I love writing action scenes. DA, I will try and get you a few pictures of the Guardians. That would be awesome. I would love to see those. Owissa says, so I smiled and said hi and then walked the hell out of there after she let me see her more regularly. James Gralski says, we had a group of like 5 deer run by us on a walk. Well, I was happy watching deer, but my yellow lab was looking around and growling in the direction of the deer came from. Yeah, they were probably being chased by a big predator. Could have been a Sasquatch. Could have been Could have been a mountain lion. I mean, dogs and mountain lions don't always get along. Actually, rarely do. Well, I guess it's taken Naoma a minute to get back. While we're waiting for Naoma to get back and see what's wrong with her mic, I'm going to play the video trailer to the video game that All Tower Media is making about my book series. I think you guys will get a kick out of this. There'll be a Kickstarter coming soon. You guys can get involved with the process of making the video game, but it's going to be freaking awesome. So I'll play this trailer right now and see what you guys think.
Tower 7, come in. Come in, Tower 7. Tower 7, do you copy? Welcome to the wonderful life of Fire Lookout. My name's Alan. You must be Jeremiah. I'm just glad to hear anything but static. Last guy just up and quit. We're on our own for now.
What the hell is this? There's nothing like this on any of the maps.
Oh, thank God I got a hold of you. Listen. It's a kid. They're missing. When you look out at the forest at night, does it ever feel like it's looking back?
I don't know if you guys could see that on that last board that it showed with the missing posters, but the hilarious part is at the far right of that. There's a picture that says "wanted for questioning," and it's me, which it just cracks me up. I think that's a hilarious touch. Are you working? I think I hear your audio.
You can hear my audio?
Woohoo, I hear you.
There I am.
Woohoo.
My computer just went haywire. I don't know what happened. It's crazy. What was the question for me?
I will have to scroll back and find it. Give me just a second. Meg says, my landowner told me the Superstition Mountains is weird. Richie Evans says, I'll take a video of that spot on 3 Bridge Road, 35 yards away from me in every direction. I get near that road turning into a biatch. Now I'm 6'1" and iron worker from New York City. Yeah, I definitely would love to see video of that area. Let me see if I can find that question for you as I played that video.
Richie, I come from a whole family of iron workers.
Richie says, had a rock thrown at me about 20 to 40 feet away over my head. That was around 4:30 p.m. Yeah, a lot of rock throwing, and that takes hands. You know, that's not something a deer can just pick up a rock and chuck it with its mouth. That needs hands. I cannot find which. If somebody had a question for Naoma, go ahead and post that again, as I'm not finding it scrolling back because the chat keeps jumping. I'll be scrolling back and another chat will get comment will get added and it jumps and I lose my place. So I apologize. I'm not able to find that. James says, got to run, folks. Night. Thanks, James. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the comments, brother. Contact me anytime at daroberts@daroberts.net. I'd love to hear your accounts and see videos if you got it. That would be freaking cool. So just feel free to contact me anytime, man.
Oh,
that's what it was.
Yes, I contacted them and they responded back right away. They said that they are in the process of moving, and as soon as they get settled into their new location, that they would love to have us on the show. So, and I haven't heard anything back from them since. So hopefully they'll get moved in and they'll contact us.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be a great one to do.
Yes.
TFV has a comment about the trailer. Reminds me of Myst. Looks like it'll be fun. Yeah, I can't wait to play it. There was one trailer that we haven't really showed yet. It was just kind of an in-house one, and they send it to me for me to watch it. And Josh will know which one I'm talking about. The guy's like walking around with a flashlight looking for stuff, and if you watch, just as he's turning away, a freaking Gugway runs right behind him, behind the trees. I was like, "Oh crap!" And he turns and looks that direction, and he's like, "Nope, there's eye shine that direction. I'm not going that way." Werewolf says, "I've been in rock fights with monkeys. They are mean. Yeah, and they can throw a rock really damn hard too.
They're not afraid to throw poo either.
That's right."
We used to have a place in my hometown that had Fedgeberry Park was what it was called, and they had and right in the middle of it they had a place called Mother Goose Land, and then in the middle of Mother Goose Land they had what they called Monkey Island, and those monkeys would throw poo at you. I remember that quite well. Oh, I'm sorry if you guys are picking up the sounds of my strange gurgling stomach tonight.
Are you okay? You hungry?
Yeah, no. I've been like this my whole life. If I eat, my stomach gurgles. If I'm hungry, it doesn't make any noise at all. And I made the mistake of eating before I came on tonight. So anyway, catch me up. What's been going on since I left?
I was just answering comments. I got way behind.
I just got a message from Denise Snyder who says she lost her internet. So.
Well, that's terrible. I'm sorry, Denise. Hopefully you'll be able to make it back.
Yeah. Josh says, yay, glad to hear that.
Yeah, I just heard. Excuse me, I just hear normal background.
That's what it sounds like usually, just like what you just did.
Like a belch. Yeah. Sorry about that. That was unintentional. That was an accident. That was
mine comes from somewhere in the middle.
Well, I just finished the last of my coffee, so I have the big debate right now. I have a half-gallon bottle of distilled water, or on the other hand, I've got Irish whiskey. I'm a little torn.
A little bit more distilled than the water.
Yeah. Well, the Irish, not Irish, the Gaelic word for whiskey is uskabetha. And uskabetha translates as the water of life. And uskabetha became whiskey. It just kind of got amalgamated, but the original Gaelic word is uskabetha.
And we know
I speak a little Gaelic. Not enough. I'm working on learning more, though. I have a program on my phone called Duolingo, and they have Gaelic on there, and it has improved my Gaelic considerably.
Cool. We know why whiskey was invented, though. To keep the Irish from ruling the world.
That's right. Well, my family's more Scots than Irish, but I'll take it. We're all Celts.
My mother was Scotch-Irish.
My dad always said he didn't want to look up our family tree because he was afraid he'd find more people hanging from it than in it. More outlaws than in-laws.
I used to be very much into that, and I learned some things about my family I didn't need to know. So, and you don't need to know either, so don't ask.
My grandmother kept the family Bible that had been passed down to her. And it was donated to the Assembly of God Church in Lebanon. And last I knew, it was still on display there. And it's an old Bible. It's about that thick. And it was originally printed sometime in the early 1800s. But it had our family history going back on that side of the family for generations. And my My great grandfather on my maternal grandmother's side, his last name was Hamilton, Bill Hamilton, and he was the sheriff of a little town in Colorado called Dove Creek. It's a ghost town now, and I would love to go find it. They say you can still drive to it, but I've never been to it. I want to get out there and go to Dove Creek, Colorado, because my maternal great grandfather was the sheriff. But according to the Bible, he'd had two wives, but it didn't say which wife his children came from. The Bible did not say that. His first wife supposedly died of consumption. His second wife was an Apache. So if I ever did the ancestry test and I came back with Apache blood, I think I would, I think I'll know.
Yeah. My great grandfather is actually buried on a Cherokee reservation in Oklahoma. He was on the Dawes Roll. So I'm guessing there must be some Cherokee blood in there somewhere.
Probably. Dennis Chandler says, DA, remember, you never ever brews good whiskey with nothing but a glass. The quote I always live by is, you drink your whiskey the way you drink your coffee, straight up the way God intended it. Richard Sullivan says, hey, Richard, whiskey got on my to rule the world. Very definitely.
I drink my coffee the way I like my men, weak and easy to control.
Richie says he's Irish, Welsh, and Colombian mix. DA, is it Erengobra or Erengobralis? Well, it depends. I think on certain individuals the Gobralis would be pretty nice, but Erengobra.
And what exactly does that translate to?
Basically, it's Ireland forever. Essentially, it's just like a motto. I can't remember the Scottish version of it. My son had slapped me on the back of the head for not remembering it. That's gonna drive me nuts.
One of my favorite scenes in Braveheart is when the Irishman comes and sits down next to Mel Gibson in the middle of the battle. And he looks at him and he says, I've been doing me some talking to the Lord, and he thinks he can get me out of this, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, where are we? We've kind of gone down a lot of roads tonight.
We have. We've gone down a lot of rabbit holes. And we've talked about all kinds of stuff. We're still catching comments though. Alyssa says the no fear stance paid off on Sunday when I returned to the group above them and started guarding me from harm by the lower group. Well, that's cool. Meg Mill says, I'm glad the storm is passing. I hope the storm kind of starts fading out soon. A lot of damage down in New Orleans and Louisiana. I've got some friends down there that I've been pretty worried about. So Thomas, if you're listening, I hope you guys are safe. I know you guys said you were going to, I think you said you were going to Alabama to get out of the path of the storm. So I hope you don't have a whole lot of damage when you get home. I hope everything's okay. I pray you guys are safe. And for everybody that's in the path of the storm, I hope you guys are okay. My son is in Florida on vacation with some friends, and I'm hoping the storms let up because he's going to be coming home this weekend, and I hope he doesn't have to drive through any heavy storms to get home. So just if you guys are out there in the path of the storm, be safe. If you need to evacuate and be careful. It's when weather gets like that, it's never on anybody's side. Everybody suffers equally.
Yeah, we've been catching a little bit of the tail end of the storm, but nothing like what they've been getting.
We've caught some rain from it, but nothing bad. Enough to scare the dog. He talks a big talk, but you get one bolt of lightning and he's up in mom's lap.
Yeah, I'm a total pluviophile. When it's raining or thundering and lightning out, that's when I'm happiest.
Oh, I love a good thunderstorm. I alternate when the white noise, well, the background noise that I listen to in my headphones. I either
Mhm.
listen to severe thunderstorm sounds, uh, but I always find, because you can find them on YouTube. It's,
Mhm.
music to sleep by or sounds to sleep by. I like the winter storm with a crackling fireplace or the thunderstorm with a crackling fireplace. Those are my two favorite to sleep to, and those are just perfect. Irene says I'm Seminole French on my mother's side, Comanche French on my father's side. That's a cool that's a cool history right there.
Yeah,
Meg says Neoma radio station that wrote the article on Dixie cryptid. Do you
it was the Eagle in Hannibal, Missouri. 102 maybe.
I'm looking for it now.
Doc Holliday was the DJ that posted it.
100.9 the Eagle.
So I was off by one. Yeah, and they posted the stories from the stories that DA wrote, and it was fantastic. It was really cool, and he was really. I couldn't believe he answered me within less than 2 minutes after I wrote to him.
I'm on their Facebook page scrolling back to try to find the article now. So give me just a second. As soon as I find it, I'll post the link for everybody to check out.
Excuse me.
Wow, they post a lot of stuff. Good God.
Yeah, you're gonna scroll forever.
Yeah, I'll find it eventually. It won't take me but a minute, I'm sure. So, what kind of creepy stories do you have from growing up? You wanted to hear all of mine. You didn't hear them all, by the way, but I touched on a bunch of stuff.
Growing up, I remember when I was a kid, there's an island that's not really an island, but it's bordered on one side by the Mississippi River and on another side by the Rock River. And there was a part of that island that my grandmother always told me, stay off that island. There's a wild man down there. And so funny because I never thought anything about it, never associated wild man with it, just thought it was some crazy old guy down there. But when I had my one Bigfoot encounter, it was down at that end of that island. And
So, it was a wild man.
yeah, sure was. She was right. But the funny thing is, I did try a couple of times to ask her, but it never really occurred to me until later, much later, that I should be asking her exactly what she meant by that. The encounter happened it was actually two encounters, to be honest. They happened about 7 months apart.
So, what happened?
And the encounters?
Yes.
Oh, oh.
You all right?
When I was 19, we were so poor we couldn't pay attention, and my husband and I lived in this cabin on the Mississippi River, and it was surrounded by backwater and woods, and he would go out coon hunting at night, and that literally was the money we were making. He was hunting raccoons, and anyway, my best friend, because I was pregnant with our younger son, would come and stay with me at the cabin because we didn't have a phone. We heated the cabin with a big fireplace, and she and I would sit in front of the fireplace, and we'd play gin rummy. And my older son, who was not quite 3 at the time, we put him on a blanket, so the fireplace would be over here and he'd be over here, and we'd be facing each other playing. And we had this big old giant, really super heavy hide-a-bed sofa, had no legs. So we had it sitting up on cement blocks so that we could put the bed down in it during the day and take it out. Otherwise, it was too close to the floor without legs. And we were just sitting there playing, and all of a sudden something came up and against the side of the house so hard it knocked that sofa down off those blocks right straight down on its face. And It just terrified us. And so I went out and I took the gun out and fired 3 rounds into the air so my husband would know to come back. And he he walked around the cabin and he didn't see anything. Of course, it's a river cabin, so it's sitting up high, and it had uh, um, the lattice around it, and something had torn the lattice off, but didn't see anything. It's probably late November, early December at this point. So the ground was frozen. There wasn't going to be any footprints or anything, and he just went on with life. And about a month later, there was an ice jam on the river, and we got flooded out, and we moved, lost almost everything we had. And the following summer, we went back down there, and we were fishing, and he'd gone way down. It was night fishing, and he'd gone way down the levee to fish another place, and he left me and the kids in this backwater pond, and we weren't going to catch anything but dogfish. I'm telling you, that's all that was in there. So I didn't even bother to fish, and the boys fell asleep, and I put them in we had a playpen that was like sort of like fishnet, and I had mosquito netting that I draped over it, and I was just sitting there looking at the sky, and I kept hearing something beside me or behind me, and I didn't know what it was, but the sound that it made, it wasn't really loud, but it sounded like kind of a cross between a coyote and an owl. It's the only way I can describe it. It's just a really weird, high kind of yipping sound, and it started to kind of really freak me out. And there was the driveway into this little clearing where I was sitting, and I saw something over on to my left, and it was a silhouette of something that took one step across that clearing. It took it in one step, and that clearing was wide enough for a car to drive through.
Wow.
And from where I was sitting, and I was sitting down on one of those little they're like a they're like a bucket, but they got a little pad on them type seats.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was sitting on one of those little beach. It was a low stool, whatever it was. It looked like it was 10 feet tall. I mean, it just was, and I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it was probably 7 or 8 feet, but it was just massive. And it went into the pond that I was sitting in front of, and it kind of just splashed around. And I don't know how else to describe it other than just to say it splashed around. And I got my kids and I put them in the car, and I locked myself in, and I honked the horn, and I honked the horn, and I honked the horn. Terrified, absolutely terrified. And I looking back, I don't guess I really had a reason to be. It didn't do anything to make me be afraid, but it terrified me.
Well, when something like that steps out, even if it's not being aggressive, it's such a shift in the paradigm of your thinking to see something like that your brain has told you your entire life is not supposed to exist. That in and of itself is terrifying.
Yeah.
That's common with so many encounters when people have seen cryptids of all varieties. And when your brain sees something that your logical part of your brain, so from society and years of school, says it should not exist, yet it's standing before you. That moment, it's just that the pop of the paradigm shifting, and your fight or flight kicks in, even if it's not being aggressive. So a lot of encounters that people have labeled Bigfoot attacks were really nothing more than it showed up and scared them off.
Yeah.
But then again, you've got the other end of the spectrum where you find missing bodies, missing heads.
The fun thing about it is, being stupid, I started telling everybody, because I was stupid, and I just started, and I got made fun of. My now ex-husband was really almost mean to me about it. And his friends made fun of me, and it really turned me off on talking about it. And for many, many years, the only time you'd ever hear me tell it was when the kids were sitting around the campfire and I was telling scary stories. And I'd embellish it and I'd get them going and stuff. But really, that's the basic story. I don't remember smelling anything. One thing I do remember is for a long, long time, many, many years, like decades, I never heard another story of one hitting the side of a house. And so I was never 100% sure if I could tie that to a Bigfoot or not, but I always did for the benefit of the kids. And it was on Sasquatch Chronicles that somebody mentioned it. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa,
There
okay.
are lots of accounts out there of it slapping the side of a
And now
house.
in fact, I've experienced that in this house now, but it
Tim
was
Tim
nothing like
Coonbo
that.
Baker mentioned it happening to his house.
Yeah. I've definitely heard
That's a
about
guy I
it.
would love to hang out and buy coffee for.
Oh,
Uh,
me too.
I've got no direct contact with the guy, and I doubt seriously he's listening to my show. But if anybody out there has a way to contact Tim Coonbo Baker, that's a guy I would love to have on the show and interview. Just a super smart
Absolutely.
guy. I mean, the guy worked for freaking NASA. Yeah, so he's a legit rocket scientist, and now
I
he's
would.
a cryptozoologist.
What is the horn in the Bible?
The Horn of
The show.
Jericho. The what?
Well, yeah, the shofar horn.
Oh,
It's called a shofar horn. That's what it
okay.
is. Have you heard anything about his experiments with that?
No, I have not.
That was really fascinating. I just recently ran across because I hadn't heard anything from him in a really long time, and he is really one of my favorite people to.
I,
Anytime somebody has him on their show, I want to find it. And
I used to listen to Foot Outlaws all the time, and
I
when he
used
left
to
the show, I
too.
stopped listening to it because it just wasn't that interesting anymore.
Me too. I'm the exact same way. I just thought he was fascinating. But um, he's been experimenting with the shofar horn.
Hmm.
And the the interview that I heard, and I wish I could remember what show it was on that I heard him. I would love to pick his brain about that.
I would too.
Yeah.
Josh told me to check my messenger. He put that link in there from the article from uh, the Eagle 100.9, but I'd already found it. I posted the link to that in there, and I also posted a link to the guys from uh, from Rolla, Missouri that I was on their podcast. Well, I've done their podcast several times. It's the Horror Chronicles podcast. I posted the link. Check those guys out. They're a hoot and a half. And they dig into cryptids and they talk about about old horror films and stuff. So check their podcast out. They're a pretty cool group of guys, and I'm going to be doing some projects with them in the near future. I'm going to go up to Rolla and shoot a bunch of film, looking for signs and sightings of the Ozarks howler, and we've talked about going to Zombie Road together. Although they've kind of closed Zombie Road off now. What I was told that it's difficult to get into it now because they closed that park at dusk. So we'll have to go up there and get special permission to be in there after dark. But
Cool.
that's gonna unless they shut us down completely, that's gonna happen sometime in the not so distant future too. Werewolf 5674 says, when you run into big things in the woods, it shakes you up. I walked up on coyotes and deer. You're both supposed.
I don't understand that one.
Yeah, not sure on that one, but yeah, I understand. Walked up on coyotes and deer.
Yeah.
Aaron says it will. Only problem is going to be the
The anyway. Yeah, I saw somebody said the ram's horn.
Mhm.
Marshall did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of horn it's made out of as to whether or not he was successful with it, I think.
What
And
resonance frequency it hits.
mhm,
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that.
yeah,
Kumbo's a fascinating guy. I would
absolutely.
very much like to get him on the show. Or hell, I'd like to just sit and buy the guy some coffee and sit and pick his brain.
Oh, me too. I very nearly a few years ago when they went up to LBL, I very nearly worked my way into going up there too, but I didn't. And I regretted that completely. But I mean, it would have been a day thing for me. I wouldn't have been able to camp. I I like you. Things like that are beyond me now. With
Yeah.
my knees, and I have herniated discs in my back, and crappy stuff like that.
Oh, I know the
So
feeling.
yeah. Only problem will be the mosquitoes. That's the end of that. Yeah. We have some pretty big mosquitoes down here too.
Yeah, I don't even
Anyway,
think I don't think Coonbo's on Facebook at all anymore.
no, let me see if I can find the show that he was on.
Oh, no, I found him. I sent him a friend request and he's never responded.
Uh, hmm. Well, that took me to the
Well, I
wrong
sent him
place.
a message back in January 18th of 2018, and he still has not seen it. So I'm guessing he's not on Facebook often.
I believe that it was Sawdust Beast that he was on. That he
Yeah,
talked about that.
I'd like to make contact with him. I really would.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If it was Sawdust Beast, I kind of have an in with them. They
That
might
would
be
be
able
cool.
to.
Put us in
Yeah.
contact. That would be fantastic. I'd like to get him on the show. And hell, like I said, I'd just like to sit and listen to him tell stories.
Yeah. I actually recorded a commercial for them. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Speaking of commercials, I am going to make sure we mention that we have you here from you and Cam both are from the Dixie Cryptid podcast, which you can find there, and the What If It's True podcast. You can find it there. So I hope you guys will check that out. And definitely, if you haven't, check out the Discord community. There's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of conversations. And swing by and check out the Patreon community as well. You know, you'll be able to get involved in a lot of stuff that's going on to help shape the future of the DA verse. We're still growing. We're doing a lot of stuff. I'm getting ready to post a new short story to the patrons. It's just for the patrons. That one should go up probably later tonight. I've already got the short story written, and it'll go right in there for the patrons. We're also we've got an active chat going on trying to come up with a title for one of the books. That's actively involved with the patrons as well. So there's a lot of stuff the patrons are involved in that not everybody gets to see. They'll help come up with titles for books, discuss plot ideas, help decide covers. There's a lot of involvement the patrons are going to be involved in with deciding the books, and everything in the Patreon community goes back in to making the books better and being able to shoot videos and to do shows like this. It's all 100% going right back into this, so we can keep doing stuff like this and keep building and keep growing. And it's a slow process. I mean, we're hitting growing pains, but we're going to get there, and I think the next couple of years are going to see some tremendous growth, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Lenita says, yes, it was Sawdust Beast.
Nice.
So.
Well, I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know, but I think that describes me, and I'm not even an uncle.
It definitely describes me. I show up to family functions and get everybody all worked up telling stories. That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I think we're getting to the point we'll start wrapping things up. And
yeah.
Folks, appreciate you guys so much. Naomi, you are so awesome. I love doing shows with you. You crack me up. Hope you guys have heard a little bit about the Chupacabra, enough to want to look into it more. There's plenty of reports and sightings out there available. Lots of even news accounts where it's made it into the news. Again, I think it's more than just a mangy dog. I think it's something. I think it's more lizard-like. I think it's the mangy dogs that they're finding, or mangy coyotes, are just being blamed for it because they happen to be there. But I don't think it's not canine behavior to drain something of blood and not eat the meat. That's just not canine behavior. That's something unique, something new. And if it's that reptile looking thing, it's kind of terrifying. I'd hate to lose my dog or anything like that. Speaking of my dog, I need to tell this story real quick. Um, Went out last night about 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm a night owl. I usually stay up writing till the wee hours of the morning, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 o'clock. Well, Harley, the Wonder Dog, decided he needed to go pee, and so I went out in the backyard with him, and I took a flashlight. And I live in town, but the house directly behind me has been abandoned for a while. The last tenants just really ripped the guts out of it, and the landlord has not fixed it, so it's set empty and badly damaged for the last better part of a year. There's really not a lot of light out there, and there's a privacy fence to the south of me, and there's no lights to the north of me on the houses over there. They don't put their backyard lights on. Well, I went out, let Harley out, and he started to run across the backyard, and then he stopped and kind of backpedaled, and then he went over by the tree and peed. Then he came back up to me wanting to go in. I'm like, no, you came out here, you got to go poop. He would not leave my immediate sight. He would not go more than like 10 feet from me. So I start shining this flashlight around, and it's a ProTac HL5X. It's 3,500 lumens. It's a bright light. So in the bushes by that abandoned house, about 12 feet off the ground, I get eye shine, and it's just staring at me. Could have been an owl. Don't know what it was, but it was bright yellow eye shine, and it stared at me the whole time, and Harley would not go back in the back part of the yard. That's usually his favorite spot. And as soon as he was done, he shot right past me heading into the house. And I kept that light on the eyes for a couple of minutes trying to figure out what the hell it was. Like I said, could have been an owl, could have been, but I don't normally see owls in town, but we have seen them in the area a few times. We had one that hung around for about a year catching rodents and stuff. But like I said, could have been an owl, but it was 10 or 12 feet off the ground. It was bright yellow, and it didn't budge. It stayed staring right at me until I backed up and went in the house and locked the door. And it was just really weird. And it's and Harley's not the bravest of dogs to begin with. Well, we'll just put it that way. Love the little idiot to death, but he's not the bravest dog on the planet. But he wouldn't go anywhere near it. And he saw it before I lit it up with the flashlight. I never even noticed the eye shine until he was trying to come back in the house. So it was just kind of creepy, really kind of one of those things. I'm going to try to see if I can see it again. Marshall Sorota says, how wide apart were the eyes? From where I was standing, they looked to be 6 to 7 inches apart because my backyard's pretty long, and there was distinct difference in the eyes. If it had been a small owl, they would have looked pretty close together because my backyard's a good 40, 50 yards long. So at 40 to 50 yards, they looked like they were about 6 inches apart. They were pretty wide apart. So that's why it kind of made me think it wasn't an owl.
Owlzilla.
Yeah, it was a big owl. But they were bright yellow, and they didn't budge until I was back in the house. I'm going to go back out there. I'm sure the little idiot's going to want to go to the bathroom here shortly. I'm going to go back out there with the flashlight, and this time I'm going to take the 9mm. But I'm dying to know if it's out there again. But it didn't budge. It never moved. It stayed right on me. And I've never seen eye shine in that spot before. I know my yard because I'm out there a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, if there's no show on Saturday, I just would like to take this opportunity.
You can have it without me.
If I'm here by myself, it was nice knowing you there, DA. I'm just saying.
Alyssa says, not a Bigfoot, stay armed, gold eyes or wolf-like creatures. Well, if it's a wolf-like creature, like I said, it was 10 to 12 feet off the ground. It was pretty far up there. And there's a lot of thick brush on my property line between my house and that empty house behind us. And it was pitch black back there, just absolutely dark. And it was pretty high off the ground. So I'm going to see if I can find it again tonight. I'm going to take my phone, see if I can film it. And that would
drop
be pretty
it
cool.
in a convenient place.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll make sure, I drop the phone before I get carried away by whatever the hell it is.
That's important.
Yeah. Marshall says better bring a 44 auto mag. Well, it's going to look a little weird to the neighbors if I go walking out there with my Keltec KSG racked. So I'll probably just take the 9mm and I'll get a good bright flashlight.
Point at the eyes, they'll understand.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit of video because if I see the eye shine, I'm going to try and film it. And the camera on my phone's pretty good, but whether or not it can capture something that far in the dark is kind of up in the air. So it's not that good a camera. But I will try to get it on film, especially if it's back there again. But it did kind of weird me out last night, especially. The weirdest part was Harley's behavior because he usually makes a beeline for the back of the fence and sniffs around and chases rabbits and does everything but what he's supposed to do when I let him out at 2:00 in the morning. But he loves the back part of the yard. He goes back there and romps around and chases rabbits and squirrels. Yeah, he wouldn't go back there last night. That was the weird part. He started back there and just stopped dead in his tracks and backed up, which is pretty weird behavior for him. But he is a big chicken, so love him to death, but he's a big old chicken.
Well, hopefully it's not a Chupacabra and it won't drain him of his blood then.
Yeah. Well, if it is, it was up in a tree then because no, those that brush wouldn't support the weight of anything. It's just like just shrubs that grow against the fence line.
Yeah.
Lindy says I took a pic at night of Sasquatch and his eye shine came out like lasers, like a flashlight. Oh hell yeah! I hope that happens. Josh says you need to pick yourself up one of those $100 FLIR camera attachments for your phone. Oh, and a current gen phone with night vision. Yeah, well, yeah, I would love to be able to, but that's probably not in the budget anytime soon.
Grenade launcher would work. Fire thrower.
You have not seen what I can do with that Keltec KSG. Me and that Keltec shotgun will hold 15 rounds, and it's Dutch loaded with buckshot and slugs. And I went out to a buddy's house, and we built a frame and put an old crappy door he had in it. He was doing a remodel, and he had tore doors out of the house. So we put one of these doors up just to practice breaching the door. And that thing just absolutely destroyed the doorknob and both hinges. I cut that door in half.
Wow.
Yeah, that Keltec is a beast. Weston says Bigfoot have two eyelids. Eye shine can be white or red when they're using their nictating membrane. It's red. That's good to know. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Well, folks, again, I appreciate you guys being here. Love the chats. You guys have just really lighted up. It's absolutely awesome. Naoma, love having you on the show. You were just so awesome. I love working with you. This is a lot of fun. Hoot and a half.
Love being on the show with you, DA. You're fun to be.
You make the show. I wouldn't want to do it without you. Can't wait till we got Steve with us on Saturday too, because he's a big goofball too. Kind of fits right into the mix.
Yeah, sounds good.
Dennis Chandler says it'll hold 22 of the 12 gauge minis. It will, but I don't have any of the minis, and I want something a little more punch. That's why mine's loaded with 3-inch magnums. So they're definitely going to want to do something a little more damage than those. I think they're the Aguila minis. Those are great for like smaller targets, but something that I want to stay down. I want to hit with a little more punch. So that I'll definitely be thinking of that. But again, thank you guys for joining us. You guys are the best. Oh, you know what we didn't do?
What?
Oh my God!
My God!
Slap myself. I am going to give away a $5 gift card tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I got $5 Amazon gift cards. $5 Amazon gift card, ironically, is exactly enough to buy any of the Kindle editions of any of my books. So I think I will just let Naoma decide who had the best comment tonight.
Oh my!
I want everybody to make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all of that. Hit the ring bell. Find that subscribe button and crack it one right in the face. Give me hit those subscribe channels and share. Make sure you share the show with your friends because we are wanting to grow the audience and see more people out there, and we love having you guys here. And it's a wonderful thing. And let's see, Naomi, have you decided who you?
No, keep talking. Keep talking.
Oh, keep talking. Okay. Well, while she's deciding, we're going to give away the first of many $5 gift cards. And then later in the month, I will have something special as well that I will be giving away. So we will probably also do something a little different than Naoma's favorite comment, but we'll have something in place by Saturday for a little more formal giveaway.
Oh, I shouldn't probably pick that one.
Dennis Chandler says, I understand. I keep the minis because I live in an apartment. Yeah, if you don't want to punch big holes in walls, the minis are the way to go. Marshall says, I vote Awissa. Great comments.
All right. We'll go with Awissa.
Okay. Awissa, contact me with your email address at daroberts@daroberts.net. I will post that up real quick.
And you get a chance to read the books, because I think Awissa was asking about it earlier.
Mm-hmm. Email us at daroberts@daroberts.net, and I will email you one of the $5 gift cards to Amazon. And if you do decide you want to use it on one of my books, I recommend you start with Apex Predator Wolf Moon, and that kind of kicks it off from there. And when you're at my website, daroberts.net, you will see at the top of the banner there is a timeline of the order of the books. If you read them in that order, you will get a much larger picture of the DA verse, and we're still expanding. So, Awissa, please email me there, and I will send you your code.
All right.
And again, if you haven't checked out the Dixie Cryptid, which I'm sure a lot of you have, which there's the Dixie Cryptid YouTube or the What If It's True at whatifitstrue.podcast.com. Check out both those places. They are awesome. I love listening to Cam and Naoma narrate stories. They're absolutely fantastic. And if you get a chance, swing by the Patreon, give us check it out, see if you'd be interested in being involved in shaping the future of the DA-verse. And again, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. You guys are absolutely awesome. Awissa, don't forget to email me as soon as you can, and I'll get that right to you. And
Awissa says no. She doesn't do Amazon. And I can only go back as far as I as when I came back out.
Oh, well, that's bad.
How about this one?
That's a great comment. Okay. Well, and I guess that's
Richie Evans.
That's the one. Richie, contact me at daroberts@daroberts.net. I'll put it back up on the screen real quick so everybody can see it. Shoot me an email at daroberts@daroberts.net, and I'll send you that code. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to appreciate you guys being here so much. And I hope you guys will be with us on Saturday night when we will have a surprise guest. And I think you guys are going to enjoy the show. And we'll be talking about some pretty interesting stuff. Watch for the announcement for the show coming on all of my media, probably tonight or tomorrow. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I have a ball doing these shows. And it's the high point of the day when I know it's show day. I'm excited for the show all day long. And I always leave the show so jazzed. So I'll probably sit down and write 5,000 words tonight because I always feel so creative after a show. I love doing it. So again, thank you guys for being here. For those of you that are in the path of the hurricane, I hope and pray that you guys are safe. And when you guys if you have to evacuate, I hope you come home and don't have to rebuild. Hopefully this storm will be done soon and everybody will be safe. So my hearts and prayers with you guys tonight, and a big thank you to all the men and women in uniform, law enforcement, military, whoever you are, if you're protecting us. And I'm sure that there'll be a lot of men and women in uniform going down there to help out in the aftermath of the hurricane. And I hope everybody is safe and comes through this okay. So again, thank you guys for being here. You guys are absolutely the best. And I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us tonight on DA Ex Machina. Follow DA on social media and check out all of his work at daroberts.net. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.